Welcome into the Casual Gaming Conversation. I'm Connor. That's Nick. This is your weekly gaming conversation podcast from Ep.54. This week we're talking about Black Myth Wukong. We're talking about Star Wars Outlaws. We're hitting you with our hot take, and we're hitting you with the open world games draft. We've done an open world RPG draft in the past, and then it really got muddy in the comments on what an open world RPG is. They have RPG elements, but are they an open world RPG? There was a lot of discussions and arguments about that, but this time we're just simplifying it. Open world games, what are our favorites? That'll be the draft. We will be doing the hot takes after our reviews because my hot take is about Black Myth Wukong, and I want to throw my review out first before we get into that hot take. So things are going to be a little bit out of order, but other than that, Nick, how are we doing?
Do good, bro. Man, last night was something. I played Star Wars Outlaws till the late hours of the night, as I've done with some of the reviews on this channel. But this is one of those examples of you make a plan, and sometimes the plan shifts, and you gotta just roll with the punches. AKA, I looked up a guide to see how many chapters there were. I played what the guide said was the last chapter, and then there's 2 more long chapters in this game. And so I was up at a very late hour last night. So, but we moved the podcast a little bit later. No shooting TikToks today. No Brady today. So I was able to have a relaxing morning because, that dude's just wild. Okay. He's a lot for a Sunday morning. So we were able to sleep in a little bit. I was able to get some good rest, have a nice peaceful morning setting up. I haven't gone Dunkin' in a while. It was time for me to go and grab a nice Dunkin' coffee for myself. And it's been a great morning.
Are they called chapters or are they called missions?
Quests.
Main quests.
Yeah, main quests.
Yeah, I feel like that can be confusing for people who don't like. There's chapters in this open world game. Like I don't know if I would necessarily know what that would mean.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm doing great. Auburn smoked some bum ass school yesterday.
Yeah, Nick and I
War Eagle baby, come on.
Nick and I were talking about this beforehand. Like I'm very into NFL football. I love the NFL. Can't wait for the season to start coming up next week.
Yep.
Right. I cannot stand college football. I think it is so lame that Nick is like, they have warm-up games like where they get to play like a crappy school and just absolutely dumpster them by 70 points. I'm like, why does anybody enjoy watching that? That is so crazy boring. And Nick's like, it's only the first game. And I was like, no, it's not. And then he's like, oh yeah, there's like 3 more throughout the season.
There's a couple more. Yeah.
That is so dumb to me. That is not fun. There's nothing fun about watching your team just absolutely destroy people. It's like, I don't understand at all. So I'm dunking on college football. I've always felt this way. Cannot stand it. Don't like the way it's structured. That's my take. That's Connor, my hot take.
That's the hot take for the week. All right, now into the Black Myth. No, Connor, how you been doing?
I'm good. Last week of not busy season, we're starting to get into that for my job. For people who don't know, who just listen to the podcast and haven't heard me talk about my job, I work in a warehouse, and our ware is toys, and we work with retail and charity. I do like logistics operations for that, shipping stuff out, riding a forklift around, putting orders together and such. But of course, since it's toys and it's charity, it's really busy during the Christmas season and the lead up to that. So it's about to get crazy in the off season when we're not as busy. Every other Friday off. So this was my last Friday off. It's very nice to have a 4-day weekend. I'm off tomorrow for Labor Day. Very, very relaxing. Just hanging out, playing some games. Playing so many gosh darn games, dude.
So many games.
I feel like my eyes are bleeding from just staring at screens, just grinding some games. But been playing a lot of games, and then I'm not looking forward to that busy season. We're going to slowly get into that, but it's about to get crazy with busy season with work, but also busy season with reviews. I was talking to Jason. He was like, do you want to play Valorant? And I'm like, I'm playing a lot of games. I got to do stuff for the channel. Like I can't go play Valorant right now. And then I'm like, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to play Valorant for the rest of the year. And I listed the games. I was like, and when I listed, it was like 25 games.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I just remembered another one, Dragon Quest 3
Oh,
HD.
yeah. You're going to hop in and play Dragon Quest?
I want to play that really badly.
Yeah.
Like that was in my top, I think it was in my top 5 for most anticipated for this year. Maybe, I think it
might have been 6. Yeah.
And like, I just forgot about it. We have the Plucky Squire, we have Neva, we have Silent Hill 2 remake, we have Dragon Age: The Veilguard, Assassin's Creed Shadows, The Legend of Zelda, Mario and Luigi Brothership, Mario Party Jamboree,
Black Ops 6, Dragon Ball, baby.
like,
There's games, dude.
people
Assassin's
go,
Creed Shadows.
I said that one already,
Oh,
but that's
man.
fine.
I'm sorry.
There's too many games
I was
to
just
keep
holding on
track
to
of.
see if you were going to say Dragon Ball or Black Ops, and you just went for it.
Well, I can't remember all of them
I
because
know.
there's so freaking many of them, and they're drip fed so nicely that like it's one like every metaphor, which is going to take 100 hours probably. Like we're just going to be reviewing games, grinding games. There's only 3 of us, so like we're trying to divide and conquer as best as we can to cover all of our bases. But like, man, it's going to be crazy because, like I said, we're going back to my normal 40-hour work week. But then once we get into November, it's closer to 60 hours where we're working overtime, we're working Saturdays. Like, but that's the trade-off for having a really easy 3/4 of the year or whatever to like really go crazy. But it's going to get crazy with work and games at the same time. It's about to hit a peak in Apex.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be, a lot of fun with the game side, but it's also interesting because we have this peak of content also coming out. So I want to break this down real quick before Connor gets into the housekeeping. There is a legitimate apex to the amount of weekend content that we're doing. September, I'm pretty sure we're booked every weekend doing at least one stream. Those streams aren't always the biggest and craziest things, but every single weekend there is a day or a afternoon or a morning that is taken up with weekend content. So Connor is working his ass off. Brady also works at the same place, working his ass off. And they also have bonus content. Brady's not on a lot of the bonus content.
What do we have coming up? It's
this Friday we have the 1-2 punch. We have Last of Us Factions. And we have PlayStation All-Stars.
I did not know that was this Friday. I know it's on the calendar, but like we go week to week very often. Like Laura told me about something that was happening a month from when she told me, and then we were talking about it a couple days ago that it's next weekend, next Saturday, and I was like, I can't remember anything more than a week out. Like I know you told me, and I know that I forgot, and that's my bad. But like, holy crap! Like it's really hard to like juggle all this stuff.
The amount of games that you and I have been playing in the past 3 weeks. Like nonstop. Because for you, this has just been your Black Myth journey. For me, it was doing Concord and then doing Outlaws, which is about, honestly, if you combine the two, about similar game time to do both, around 50 hours there and 50 hours for you.
No, Black Myth took
less than
35, 40 hours.
Oh, really? Okay, that's not that bad. Well, it's still bad. It's still a lot of hours. It's not a short game or anything like that. But yeah, so there's a lot of weekend content coming y'all's way. The other aspect of it is we are going to harp on it all the time. There's 2 major things. You're going to bring up Tori and housekeeping, I assume, so I'm not going to go on that. But I'm pretty sure the plan is next week we start diving into actually doing things for Co-op 64 Day, which is crazy. Because we have to. There's so much to do beforehand, and Connor and Brady, when November hits, I have nothing scheduled for them on weekend content. There's going to be a lot of potentially, if needed, not putting people on every single stream. October group stream is guaranteed to be until dawn. That's going to be all of us on the couch. That's going to be a ton of fun. But if one of the boys needs a Monday night to, I don't know, see their family or relax or like seriously play a game for review. I mean, Brady, myself, and Connor are all going to be reviewing so many titles down the line this year. It's going to be a lot. But we got so much work, and it's all really exciting. Connor,
it's all fun. It's all great.
Yeah.
And people who don't know what Co-op 64 Day is, because we've grown exponentially since then. Co-op 64 Day, we do it in January. Last year, we did it to raise money for the channel to really upgrade our whole production. We bought this camera, we bought lights, we bought these microphones, making everything sound better for you guys. We've only taken any money that we've made from this content and reinvested it back in. We've not paid ourselves out at all outside of the Co-op 64 Day stuff, just like making money on TikTok or whatever. It's all just been about growing this, making it better, making it bigger, and kind of learning and adapting based off of where we currently are. So it's been a journey when it comes to that. But Co-op 64 Day is about changes, announcements, new things that's going to go on with Co-op 64 and like what we're doing in 2025.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of excitement on that day. 24-hour stream celebrating the next year of content and kind of talking about what we're doing, and then also just hanging out and playing games for 24 hours. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have a lot of exciting, great things planned during that. So look forward to it. Stay tuned. But yeah, we're in the lead up now. It's about to be September, and these months fly by so fast. Like, it feels like Co-op 64 Day was like 5 days ago, and that was in January. Like,
the big things that like I really want to harp on is the schedule seemingly done. Like, there will be some tweaks to it, but the schedule for Co-op 64 Day this upcoming year done, and then the thermometer also seemingly done. Once again, there might be a couple tweaks before January 4th, this is the first year that is actually on my birthday, which the whole reason that we did this on to kick out the year was like, I did streams way back when, and I just wanted it to be around my birthday to have it coincide together, so people would be like, I'll send them happy birthday wishes on stream. If you want to talk to me, that's where I'm going to be. So this time it's actually on my birthday. That Saturday is going to be awesome. So I just want to throw that out there. Before we get into housekeeping, Connor, there's one last thing that we have to say. 1 year, 52 episodes.
Oh shoot, I was gonna buy like a birthday popper and be like, 1 year, yay, 52 episodes, we've done it. Have not missed a week. Don't plan on missing a week ever. Consistency is key with this. We want to be here for you guys every single week, even in the months where there's holidays and everything. We know that a lot of people work over the holidays. A lot of people are working crazy hours, and us not showing up for you can be disappointing. As somebody who consumes a bunch of podcasts, I know it is disappointing for like, I get that people need to go have their breaks and like do what they need to do and go on vacation and such. Love that. But it is sad to be like, oh, I was looking forward to this and now they're not posting. So we try to schedule ourselves out to make sure that we're not missing. If somebody's out of town, we double shoot a podcast, get something in the tank ready for you guys. So we're never missing a Monday at 9 a.m. for the casual gaming conversation. We haven't missed since. We don't plan on it. So
yeah, I mean, the last topic of this podcast will be discussing the year prior with this podcast, some favorite moments, some favorite laughs on this table, hanging out, the two of us, sometimes three with Brady.
We never had four.
Never had four.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we don't have four shirt mics.
Yeah.
So at this point, I don't think we ever will put four on the desk.
Yeah, we might get a fourth one at some point. One of these is inevitably going to crap out or something, and then we might need to buy more of them.
One.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm going to save that final topic for then. But I do want to kick this off with saying to the audience, just thank you for a year of this podcast. This has been really terrific. But like I said, more on that at the very end of the podcast.
We're just getting started.
We got a lot to talk about. And Connor said...
And I got one more thing I want to talk about before we get into this, because I've been thinking about it all week. I'm in the hype zone. I want to talk about OASIS, baby. I've been listening to so much freaking OASIS. If people don't know, they're back together. And I need to reveal all here and show that I'm a big dummy. I had no idea that OASIS was a good band. Yeah. I thought they were their hits. I thought they were Wonderwall. Everybody's heard Wonderwall. It's a meme. In our generation, I feel like most people know of OASIS through that song and know that it's the okay, anyway, here's Wonderwall kind of guy who brings a guitar to a party and is like, let me play something for you or whatever. That's what I thought OASIS was. I didn't know they had albums that were good. It's like Radiohead.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you're a casual music listener or just like haven't gotten into Radiohead yourself, like I hadn't, like, Radiohead as Creep. They're the band that makes Creep, or maybe Karma Police. Maybe you've heard Karma Police at some point in your life. For me, it was Wonderwall, and then maybe at some point I heard Don't Look Back in Anger. Maybe.
So good.
I didn't, but I've never heard Champagne Supernova in my life.
I
know for a fact I've never heard that song before.
Oh my God, dude.
So I listened to the first two records, and that song is like one of the greatest songs ever put to pen, like put to paper. It's so good. Those first two records are excellent. If they come to the States, which apparently there's rumors that is happening. They'll do a run in the States if they don't kill each other in the UK.
Apparently 6 shows is the rumor for the United States.
I will pay. It's like Daft Punk getting back together at this point for me.
Really?
It's like I'll pay anything to go to those shows.
So we doing it? Am I helping
if you would like to go, yes, I'm 100% going. I'm all in on this band. Like, go listen to their first two records if you haven't. If you're like me and you are a big dummy and thought they were just their hits, these guys make great records. I've not listened to the other ones. Apparently they fall off a little bit, but those first two are excellent. If if you are an Oasis fan, guide me. Tell me where to go next in the comments. Let me know what I should listen to. But they're fascinating to me.
Oh, they're
William and
super
Noel,
interesting. Super
the
interesting band.
most British people that have ever existed.
I mean, their name's Liam and Noel. Like,
Dude,
come on.
but like, have you seen interviews with them?
Yeah.
They are hilarious
Yeah.
to me. They're so funny. They hate each other.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
It's like us, dude. We
I know.
can despise each other.
Exactly. Like it's crazy that we go on camera and just play it up. That we actually like each other. But yeah, they're fascinating to me. It's been a whirlwind. It's been my main knowledge of them for like the last year was Maddie Healy of the 1975 doing an interview and being like, imagine being in the coolest band in the world right now, today, and not doing shows and not being together because you're in a mard with your brother. Never had heard the word mard before, which I guess is a fight. It's like, man, British people are so funny. they're awesome. It's all admiration, but like, man, like
the vocab's a little bit different for sure.
Yeah.
So I used to like really pride myself in loving music, just like understanding music. I would look up the best albums of all time and literally just listen to them all. Like that was what I did when I was 15, 16, and 17 years old. That is all I did. I like really got into loving music. And so I went on an Oasis run when I was 16 years old. Like I listened to all their records and I was like, this is awesome. I will say, and this does need to be said, Wonderwall is one of the great songs of all time.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
It's like that with Creep as well. I think Creep is excellent. And Radiohead fans hate Creep. Radiohead hates Creep or whatever, but I think it's a great song.
Well, I think that when you were an artist to that level, it's like Jack White with Seven Nation Army. It's like, okay, like really, you're just waiting for this one.
But Seven Nation Army isn't a great song in my opinion. It's a fine song.
No, it's a good.
But Wonderwall is a great song. I think Creep is a great song too.
I think Seven Nation Army is like a top 10 anthem song ever.
Yeah, well, it's used as like kind of like this moment maker, if that makes sense, rather than like an actual good song.
So my question for you then is Seven Nation Army, Bad Guy, The Chain by Fleetwood Mac. What's the best bass line out of those three tunes?
Bad Guy by Billie Eilish?
Oh, yeah.
The Chain.
Yeah, it's the chain. It's the 10 notes at the end of the chain. The 10 notes at the end of the chain has
Why
no
is Bad
right.
Guy in there?
Oh,
I don't
dude, Bad
know.
Guy's bass line is fucking
I've never really thought about it that hard. I love that
dude.
song. That song's great.
But
I'm also really into like I was on a similar arc to you. Like I got really into collecting vinyl. I was listening to a ton of. I was in a music server a Discord server where people would recommend stuff all the time, and I was listening to new stuff constantly. So I was like, if anybody should have been tuned into the fact that Oasis is a great band, I feel like that should have been me. But I had no idea. No idea.
Connor was like, have you heard these guys before? I'm like, yeah, Connor.
No. I knew that you had heard Oasis.
I know, you
obviously.
said, have I done
but I was
a
like,
deep dive?
have you listened to their records?
Yeah.
Because I don't think a lot of people have listened to their records. I think you hear their hits. I thought they were a hit machine, not a no-skip, all-killer, no-filler record kind of band. And they are, dude. That first record, I think I prefer, definitely maybe, to Morning Glory. Like, do you have a preference there, or do you?
I haven't listened to both those records in nearly 8 years.
Yeah, I think definitely maybe's better. Slide Away. Oh my God, Slide Away. Live Forever. Jesus Christ.
Here's what's gonna happen. Like, we haven't said this yet. You will be getting an Astrobot review later this week.
Yes,
that's gonna happen.
We can say that we have codes.
Yep, we have it.
We're playing it. Review later this week. That is your bonus quarterly casual gaming conversation. Yes. If you had not noticed, everything is being pushed like basically a month forward, so we don't have to shoot something in December.
Yeah, December is for us Game Awards and then full tilt looking at Co-op 64 Day. So we want November to be those bonus ones, and that's why the Q&A got shifted up and this bonus casual gaming got shifted up. We literally looked around. We're like, okay, we have so many reviews to do. One of these is just going to end up being the bonus for when it makes sense with embargo and everything. Are we like 20 minutes in?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not too
great.
bad.
No, that's fine.
I mean, this podcast, like I told Connor, I was like, with the reviews, it's going to be shorter. Of course it's not going to be shorter.
Yeah.
I'm having a great time. This has been a blast of an intro. We haven't even hit housekeeping yet. But what I did want to say was I think that tonight I'm finally done playing Star Wars Outlaws. By the way, I can say the review for this is going to be interesting. It's going to be one of my lower scores from what you get on this channel, which is
score.
Shocking.
If Nick gives something a low score, you know it's terrible.
Well, I'm excited to have the discussion with you beyond just the review. With that being said, I am really excited to turn on my Series X tonight, play Forza Horizon 5, and listen to both those records.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
why do you gotta play? Like, there's other games. I feel like you mentioned mentioned Forza Horizon 5 every episode. You must, right?
Yeah.
But also, you're playing Valorant while listening to music.
Exactly.
We can't do that. We can't.
Well, so that's why I just like turning my brain off and driving around. Like it's really
I do it at
special.
work. The only issue with work is that I'm only allowed to have one headphone in because I work in a warehouse, like I said, and it's dangerous to have two headphones in. So.
Yeah. So I'm having a great time though with the fact that I'm done with Star Wars Outlaws. I'm so
that's how I feel about Black Mesa.
Thankful.
Even though I loved it, I thought it was a great game, and we will dig into that.
Oh my gosh, dude.
I was glad to be done with
it. We both were texting throughout this entire week. Also, BO6 beta. That was great. I want to play more of that today.
I played. I
actually might do that. Listen to it and play.
That's a good idea.
Black Ops.
I played 2 matches yesterday.
Only 2?
So here's why. I had a great time. Top of the leaderboard first game. Shredded. Just was absolutely shredding. It was like the high rise or the top of the building, like the rooftop map. Super good map. Thought it was a lot of fun. Booted into the second and had some stutters, just some ping issues, like just issues with my internet, and then did the second one and it was cooked. Like I just could not get a consistent connection, and it just was like, I don't know if it was their servers or if it was my internet. I've been having internet issues lately. Spectrum coming over tomorrow. Hopefully we can fix everything. Dude, Spectrum is the worst. I can't stand internet problems. Why does it just not work? I know that's not as it's not as easy as that, but like, why doesn't it just work?
The worst is, and you know this, we had a discussion way back in like August or September is when I moved in here. So it was last August, early September. We were talking about how much should I shell out for internet, and I was like, I am a pretty frugal person in general. Like I'm not going to get the top of the line, top shelf liquor. If I'm going out, I'm getting a Bud Light in a can. Okay, like I'm going to always choose the cheapest option that works and gets the job done. But thinking about the company, thinking about the trajectory of where we wanted things to go, understanding that we were going to be streaming 4 days a week, sometimes 5, sometimes 6, sometimes 7, it became clear that I needed to go and get a nicer internet and went for a package that was like, all right, this is going to work.
Yeah, it's a gig download or whatever.
And it's shitted out on us at some very major points, but I will say, all things considered, it's been pretty all right.
Yeah, but it's not about speed at this point, for me at least. It's just about consistency. There's no consistency to my internet. And like once or twice a stream when I'm streaming from my own place, it's just going to drop out, which is so annoying.
You went and streamed a little bit late on Wednesday when you were doing The Last of Us. In the end of that stream, did you watch the end of the stream?
Yeah.
It was electric. By electric, I mean it was electric. It was so stuttery and we were getting like 4 frames
and
a
I
second.
Just wanted to finish it because I was going an extra 30 minutes. I literally was going to say on stream, I'm like, for once stream didn't crap out on me the entire time. That's great. And then of course I go late and then it craps out on me. It's like, well, I gave you guys bonus time anyway, so I feel less bad about it, but we got through it. That stream, man. I've been cooking in The Last of Us. I just put myself in a bad situation. You would not be able to get through that situation.
I watched Connor for 3 hours just die.
Yeah.
I was playing Star Wars Outlaws. I had him up on the computer, and I talk a lot of shit on this podcast, okay? Like a very large amount of shit. But Connor is a good gamer when it comes to story-based games. 9 times out of 10, he's going to get the job done. He's going to find a way to push forward. And so, with these Last of Us streams, I watched an hour, 2 hours of some of these prior streams, and I've been like, oh, he's cooking. So I don't say a lot during those streams because I'm only going to come in to dunk on you.
Right.
It was so satisfying because every 10 seconds I would just, oh, you sure about that one, buddy?
So here's what I will say. So I'm playing The Last of Us on grounded mode. I'm in Pittsburgh with Sam and Henry.
Yeah.
And we're trying to make our escape out of Pittsburgh. No more spoilers other than that. Up until this point, there's been a good smattering of ammo when you need it. And the drops have been very rare, but like doable. Like you're gonna get what you need for the most part. And I guess just in the last encounter I had done, I did not handle it as good as I could have. So I go into this sequence with one bullet in my rifle. And that's it. No brick, no bat, no nothing else. And you take out two guys at first, you choke them out, and sometimes they will both drop ammo, one bullet of rifle, one bullet of shotgun. Sometimes one of them will, but most of the time, none of them will. And it's like, well, okay, this run is probably cooked if none of them drop anything. And then you have to stealth up, and the detection on grounded mode is insane. So not only like am I getting annoyed, it's like I'm starting to make more mistakes by getting seen just because I'm like, I just need to get up there to like start actually initiating this fight. So that's annoying. The issue that I have with grounded mode at this point is that just the sequence specifically is that there was just so much stuff outside of my control. Like, it's not like I'm messing up. It's you're not giving me any consistency with the ammo. I would rather them give me 0 ammo every single time with those two guys than maybe, if you're lucky, like in a percentage chance with those two guys specifically in the sequence or whatever. Like, so it just was like, well, this run's cooked, this run's cooked, this run's cooked. Glimmer of hope. Get two bullets for my guns, be able to like sneak up, and then like you get seen, and I was like, well, okay, we're cooked, and back to the start of it. So like I'm having a great time for the most part, but I will say that is outside of my control. Yeah, I mean like the thing that was in my control was the previous area. But when in that fight, it had if I didn't get a good run with that one sequence, I was cooked for the most part. But I do think that I ended up winning on one of the runs where I had just one bullet, and then I snuck up there, got a checkpoint. First time getting a checkpoint the entire time. That checkpoint was legendary, dude. Oh my goodness,
it was a good time.
Once I got that checkpoint, I was like, oh, I can do this. And when I finally did it, oh, it was so good. It was okay. Well, now we're like 30 minutes into the podcast, and I've just been rambling about the Last of Us.
Real quick though, I just want to throw it out there. My BO6 experience, because I didn't get to say how we started talking about internet, but my BO6 experience, played 2.5 hours. Shout out to some amazing community members hopping in with me, playing some games, carrying my butt. First couple games I dominated, and then I got humbled real fast.
How do you feel about the Omni movement? You said you like it.
I'm enjoying it a lot.
I don't understand it. You're playing on a controller.
Yes.
So like I don't naturally feel like I'm gonna like throw myself back or throw myself forward like to utilize the Omni movement.
The biggest thing that is noticeable with me with the Omni movement is two things. One, and this isn't necessarily Omni movement, but it's a little bit of a newer thing where the swing out from an area naturally will also go up and out instead of just like right to left. There's a little bit more of a like sight line that you get like an extra couple frames. And there was moments peeking around corners that I needed those frames and won gunfights that way. And I was like, that feels really good.
What do you mean?
There's a wall, and you're looking to the right of it. When I'm running to the right, and so I'm scoped in, but I'm moving fast to the right. The way that your rifle goes in scopes up is a little bit faster.
Didn't notice that at all.
Really sick. The second thing is, Connor, it's not about having Omni movement. It's about getting to say the word Omni movement every time you utilize the Omni movement. I went and watched. We raised Snowbike Mike after I finished streaming. And then him, Kevin Asax, Chris Anka, they were all getting after it. They were having a great time playing some Call of Duty Black Ops 6 beta. Holy shit, the amount of fun I had watching that stream. Well, just Omni movement and just like diving backwards and just sending it. And it did not matter. But the boys were having a great time. And that word is a lot of fun. So that's what we're going to be getting into all the time playing multiplayer.
I've seen people saying that it's too fast. That like that people are flying. No. Or, like the movement with people just moving like crazy. It's like, it's okay to have fast-paced movement shooters. Like, just because a game is fast and not like perfectly boots on the ground doesn't mean it's not fun to play. Like Advanced Warfare, I know that people don't like the exosuits. That shit is fun. And if you can't hit a shot when everybody's moving that fast, it's like, that's kind of on you. I saw somebody being like, "Oh, this game is annoying because I can't hit a sniper shot because somebody is like movement diffing me." It's like that's just the game, dog. Like you're just not good.
Oh, damn.
Like, have you considered lining up the shot and getting good, please? So yeah, that's just my take. I like movement shooters.
What I'm going to say though is, before the beta, this was my number 3 most anticipated game. After the Liberty Falls news, went very far down the list. I was just like
so disappointing.
So disappointed. But hopping back in the beta, I don't know if we're at 3, but it's still top 5 for me.
It wasn't 3 on your top 10 when we did the list.
No, not on my top 10. When I totally forgot about it. What's the issue with it? I don't think about Black Ops 6 because it's just an annualized release and whatever.
Another one.
But it's hitting, and it's hitting really well. I'm stoked for it. I'm going to probably play some more tonight.
I'm excited for the other zombies map. I'm of the mind, this is my hope, that the one zombies map that we saw first, the one that's in the jungle, is a proper regular zombies map, but they promised that they were going to do 2, and they were like, we need to hobble something together and just make something out of what we already have. Just throw it all together, spit it out. That's Liberty Falls, because it looks like Warzone.
It does.
I just don't understand. Like, they know what we want. They know exactly what everybody wants. Why aren't they giving it to us? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
The biggest issue with Liberty Falls is not that it is Cold War 2. It's that they gave us the trailer that's maybe one of the best trailers I've ever seen for a video game, with Rick Toffin and the Wonderwolf and just fending off zombie. Dude, like, chills are popping up on my arm right now. I'm talking about this trailer. Yeah. And it was like, yes, this is going to be awesome. And then I have never felt hype go straight out of my asshole more than watching 2 seconds of gameplay. You'd be like, oh, this fucking sucks.
Is it just cheaper, or like, what is it? Like,
probably reutilizing some assets from like just multiplayer or whatever. But my hope is, like you said, there's a great ground up zombies mode that's a lot of fun. I'm really curious to see what Snowbike Mike says as a super casual zombies player, where, like, how does it feel movement wise
for Liberty Falls?
For Liberty Falls, because you got to play some of it.
But Paris played the other one.
They both did. They both, him and Mike both played the other one. They were on that conversation together, I believe so.
Oh, okay.
If I memory serves right, but yes, Paris did play it too. Played the original, and he was like, "This works. It feels good." My whole thing is, there is a large difference between casual people playing Call of Duty Zombies and I'm gonna tear break us a little bit. You playing zombies, where you are super into zombies, you know your shit about zombies, and then there's me, who's a sicko, who ate, slept, and breathed this shit for 5 years. Like, I watched Call of Duty Zombies videos till 2021. Like, I love this game and this game mode. This is like, if you're talking about the core of why I love video games, Call of Duty Zombies is in the top 3 for me easily. And so having just this idea of like, okay, how much fun are we having compared to, am I going to be playing this in January this year? Like, we were doing the schedule for Co-op 64 Day, and shocker, I'm running some of the late night crew. So that means, like, I want to play something that I will have a lot of fun with. That's always my goal, is to set myself up with something that I'm really going to enjoy, so it's able to combat the sleep. I thought about putting zombies on there as that thing late night. And now it's just like, well, I'm not going to put BO6 zombies, it seems, but maybe I will if this other map is awesome. Right. I'm just curious to see what the hell they're thinking. And I really, really hope that I know it sounds shocking for a lot of people, because a lot of people are just like, just remaster this, give us that. I'm going to say, don't do that. Give us something new and exciting. You are creative people. You are very smart people. You've done it so many times. You can do it again.
New and exciting though, but the same.
Yeah.
That's what people want.
Yeah.
They want another Shadows of Evil. Like, different personality, different, like, panache to it, but like, make it interesting and weird and simple. Like, there's some complexity there, but it's not crazy. We don't need all of this other stuff that was added in Cold War. Just make something that is straightforward.
Give me 20 weapons in a box. Give me a decent map layout. Give me like 6 or 7 doors to open before we get to power. Like, Give me a open enough layout where there's 2 to 3 good training spots. Like when you're just talking about map construction outside of the atmosphere that's provided, whether you're in Dryzen Drock's castle or in the 1940s or 20s vibe of Shadows of Evil, it's closer to 20s. There's simple things you can do where just the feel and the flow of it is good. But the thing that makes it amazing is the characters in the atmosphere. The sauce. We talked about it with Bloodborne. Shadows of Evil has the sauce. That is why it's a top 2 zombies map. For me. It has the sauce.
And I thought that the map that they showed first, the one that's in the jungle, had some sauce.
Yeah.
Not where I want it to be, but it looked like it was moving in the right direction. Maybe
it looked like
it didn't look straight up like
Zetsubo should have been with some like sauciness vibes.
No, Zetsubo has way more sauce.
Well, Zetsubo's so good, dude. Zetsubo's the most underrated zombies
I
map
don't like
ever.
Zetsubo. With how it's structured, I don't like it. But
yeah,
that Zetsubo has like 10 times more personality than what we saw. But I'm
That's
just saying
true.
that like it was moving in some direction.
Like
Liberty Falls looks like it was AI generated.
Yeah,
like it's bad.
It looks like AI generated when you typed in. Like somebody who just was struggling, long day at work, goes and types into AI. They type into that AI generate a zombies map. It's double generated. That's how it just. Oh my god!
Folding in on itself.
It's so frustrating. Like, can we just real quick talk about this
We've
for
talked
one
about
moment?
literally
One moment, Connor.
Nothing that we're supposed to talk about so far.
One moment. Grod Krovi kicks off with the homies falling out of an airplane to the ace of motherfucking spades before you go and get into a fiery, cool-ass dragon map.
Don't they land on the dragon in the cutscene or
no?
They just fall.
They just fall
But you
down.
get on a dragon later.
Like, Pack-a-Punch, have that be a moment, whether it's the dragon or it's Mob of the Dead. The greatness of these maps are so simple. Where it's like, okay, you just need to do certain aspects expertly, whether it is making Pack-a-Punch really, really cool and rewarding, or wonder weapons that are infinitely replayable and really fun and unique.
They have to know, right? They know, right?
I think that there is a issue with Call of Duty at this point that I think the fan base of Call of Duty from past BO4. No one's picking it up really for the third mode. The third mode is just
Warzone.
A plus, and
the third pillar is Warzone.
Yeah.
Well, campaign. Nobody's playing for campaign. You're playing for multiplayer. You're playing for Warzone.
Yeah.
But the issue is that like there is still a huge audience for zombies.
Oh yeah, a lot of
if
people
you
will
gave
hop
them
in.
good, and the reason that you don't see people enjoying the third mode is because the third mode sucks every single time.
But I'm just saying, at this point though, it's so much of just like a secondary thing that it's not the main focus of what this team's trying to do.
Doesn't
It
even
feels
need
like
to be the main focus. Like strip down the size of it and the scope of it if you need to make something with personality that's fun.
I
would rather
promise-
town. I would rather literally it be the size of town.
Yeah.
From BO2. That has more personality than anything we've seen since BO4. Like,
Yeah. I get it, dude.
give us
trust
something
me.
small. Like I don't even care if it's a tiny map. I just want something that I would enjoy replaying and like exploring and being in.
My biggest thing is they haven't. I've said my biggest thing like 7 times during this section.
This
and
is
it's because
the biggest thing.
This is the biggest thing. They need somebody to come in and from the BO3 team. They need a game designer, like a lead art designer, to just take over. They need somebody that is not looking at the finances or the numbers of it and just let somebody get really creative. The hard part is, yes, Nolan North wanted to hang it up as Rick Toffin. Like that whole gang hung it up. Like they said we're done.
Well, he's back. He
I
was
know.
the voice.
That's what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
Where it's like let's just break the glass, dude. Let's just bring them back and do the damn thing.
Can it only work with them? I don't think I think it can work with other people.
I know.
Like,
Well, it's proven that we can, but I'm saying it's the thing of if you want to hit, let's go and release one of those Beatles unwritten like deep tracks and just bring them back just to get something amazing out there for sure.
But here's what I say they do. This is you're right. Somebody needs to be focused on like an art designer, like like an environment designer. They need to be the ones who are really kind of like at the forefront of this. You need to go look at the BO3 maps. You need to see exactly what works, and then you need to make a map, check every single box that makes those great, and then just put it out there. That needs to be it. That needs to be the formula. You have the roadmap in front of you, and they just refuse to look at it.
Can we talk about how unique those BO3 maps too are from one to the next? It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, okay, also, so we have 5 maps that are all extremely unique, and you can tell that they're unique just by the colors. Shadows of Evil is this dark orange and black. Dryzen blue. Zetsubo's green. Ground Krovi's fiery red. Like almost neon blue for Revelations. Like those are all so unique just by the colors that they are. And then we just get brown and gray and just buildings.
Right.
And Liberty Falls. It's like, what the fuck are we doing?
The first map for Cold War, I said it when it first released, it looks like a multiplayer map. Like, this isn't zombies. It might be fun to shoot zombies still, like, but that's not why I play zombies. I want to be there. You know what I mean? And the way that I want to be there is the personality, is the atmosphere. How long have you been talking about this for?
I have no idea.
42 minutes.
So let's hop into the housekeeping.
Okay, yeah. Housekeeping, I'm going to rush through it. We're streaming on Twitch 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, 7 to 10. If you're listening to this on Monday, the day of release, we have a community Fall Guys night on Monday. Join the Discord. That'll be how you get the room code. I've never done
no,
this.
you don't need to join the Discord for
or watch the stream.
Just watch the stream. We will have it up.
And if you want to hop in, it'll be easy plug and play kind of deal.
I will ask, if we max out at a certain point.
How many can you have?
I believe 60.
Okay.
If we do max out at a certain point, please, I don't think we will,
Yeah,
but
I don't think we're
please.
gonna be close.
Well, I think that there will be just certain people not in our community that just hop on a Fall Guys stream that says community night. They just want to play with a fun community. Right. So I'm not thinking that it will be 60 co-op members. I'm just saying there's going to be a lot of people. If there's other community members that are in the chat that have been like vibrant community members or even newer people or whatever, and they want to hop in, just try to do the take your turn sort of deal with it. Just shout out to all those people for understanding that, because similar situation when I booted out Black Ops 6, I'm like, I probably got to say, hey, if people want to rotate out, just like, I don't want to kick anyone, and we will never kick anyone, but like, if you played all night and there's like a long ass queue or whatever, maybe let somebody else in. Just take your turn. Be smart about it.
Torg, the Ohio Retro Gaming Convention in Columbus, November 2nd. We have a panel on Saturday, 11:30 to 12. The 10 greatest games of all time, according to the Co-op 64 community. We will be live guessing that in that 30 minutes, figuring out what's on your list, figuring out what's not on your list, and being upset about it. It's going to be a fun time, and then we're going to be hanging out on the floor, enjoying the expo during the day, and then we will be doing a meet and greet that night at a local barcade, hanging out with the community and enjoying that. So
if you were an audio listener, I just pulled up Ep.52 when Connor said the greatest game of all time, the 10 greatest games of all time.
Give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps more people find us and enjoy this show. So if you could do that, that would be great. And lastly, we have a vibrant, growing community in Discord, over 1,600 members, chatting, hanging out, making friends, playing games together. We have a game club going. The first game for Game Club. This is run by one of our lovely community members, Mikey. We did a voting process followed by a wheel spin with the top 5 that got voted for the most. And of course, it wouldn't be anything else but Kingdom Hearts. I did not submit Kingdom Hearts. One of the ones that I submitted did get in the top 5.
Oh, what were your 2?
It was A Link Between Worlds on the 3DS, which did not get in, and it was Devil May Cry, which did get in.
Oh,
the top 5. Well, it ended up being 8 because there was a 3-way tie, or maybe there was a 3-way tie for one of them. It was, I'm just going off the cuff here. It was Devil May Cry, Resident Evil 1, Outer Wilds, Kingdom Hearts, and something else. I forget. But yeah, it was a good batch of games right there.
For me, the 2 games I submitted, Firewatch because it's short, accessible, and I want to play it. Like that was the only way I was gonna hop in was if it was like
DMC is like 8 hours.
I understand. I needed like 5 or less hours.
Okay, yeah.
And then I also threw in Street Fighter 6 because I want to play more Street Fighter 6.
That's
why not
for like the story.
Yeah, not just the story. I just want to get after it. But my whole thing is, if the community's playing it, then everyone's playing it. We can have a bunch of fun hopping into a bunch of matches. I don't think it's the purpose, but man, oh man, it'd be a great time.
It needs a beginning and end to be in for community.
What, you do a whole month's worth of playing Street Fighter 6? Come on.
I'm just saying that seems like what
man,
the
Connor,
Mr.
Yeah, I want to get into fighting games one day. I want to just hop into it.
I would love to get into fighting games, but I'm not going to do it for game night. Or,
it's a whole month.
Game club, rather.
Game club, it should be the next one I'm submitting, Connor, Forza Horizon 5.
No.
Let's just keep bringing it up, baby.
That's a long game.
It's not. No,
can you
play.
ever run credits? Or can you roll credits?
I don't know. If I haven't rolled credits yet.
Okay. And then we have the Discord, and our merch is in our bio on TikTok if you'd like to check that out in the link tree. So there's all that. But now let's get into the episode proper. 45 minutes in.
Dude, I've been trying to get better at time coding things. There's just a lot of processing that happens and like trimming and cutting to get the final product for the time codes. This time code is going to be legendary. Yeah. Episode 52. We remember when these episodes used to be 40 minutes long?
Yeah, because we had to fit in a certain window. I love when we don't have a hard cut off time. Like it's the best. I just like to be able to talk as long as we have to.
By the way, for that bonus episode later this week, there won't be hot takes. There won't be a draft. It will just be us talking about Astrobot. So just a heads up there. All right.
We're going to kick it off with my Black Myth Wukong review. Nick, do you want to intro it?
Do a little throw one up, lob it up to you?
For people who don't know, like we break these out for TikTok. It's really difficult to like make something that's good for TikTok and then also good for the podcast. But like we try to have like a deeper discussion after the fact. But like if this seems like a little bit more stilted and scripted, like it's because we're breaking it out for TikTok. Yeah. So just know that. Yeah. All right, hit me.
Connor, you have played and beaten Black Myth Wukong, one of the most anticipated titles this year. What are your thoughts, and what would you give it out of 10 on the Co-op 64 scale?
Yeah, Black Myth Wukong is an emphatic, highly recommended 8 out of 10. It is a great video game, but there's just a few flaws that kind of brought that score down to an 8. But like I said, I would highly recommend this game to anybody. I think it's a great time. 8 out of 10, but let's dig into why it's getting that 8. Let's start with the positives, as we always do. The game starts pretty linear. A lot of people were talking about this like it's a boss rush kind of experience. It's not that. This game starts linear, but then really does open up quite a bit and ends up having winding paths. They might be a little bit congested on like the actual path, but you can go in different directions, handle things in different orders. There's a ton of side content to get into that's really impactful. Some side quests like are multi-phased quest lines that lead to completely different areas that have new boss fights and interesting areas to traverse and get through that always lead to something really rewarding, an item that'll help you in a later fight that I found really interesting and really fun to dig into. So that linearity is hidden really well, in my opinion. It's not this straightforward linear game. It has that side content to break things up and kind of keep you engaged, which I really enjoyed. The boss fights in this game, it's known for its boss fights. You've heard about them, I'm sure. They're excellent. Just looking at them is always exciting to see what Freako you're going to run into next. But like mixing in your different combos, your like charged up attack, your different spells, hitting a perfect dodge, it all feels great against these boss fights. And while I don't think that they're like super varied, they're just always fun to enjoy and to see what they're going to look like and experience, learn their attack patterns, come out on top. Some of these definitely were very challenging to me. It's definitely not closer to a God of War, in my opinion, level of difficulty. I would say it's closer to an Elden Ring or a Bloodborne, but it's not on that level, I wouldn't say. It's going to give you some challenge, though. It's definitely not just like a breeze to get through. It's fun, though. It's fun to come out on top. There was definitely those moments that you get in Souls games where like you're like really hoping you're on like your last like bit of health and it's coming down to the wire, you hit that last hit and it shows up that you've defeated them, and like you throw your controller to the side and go, yes, let's go. It's so good. I love those moments. I had that with the final boss a couple nights ago, where I spent 3 hours on the final boss, and coming out on top felt amazing. So good. I love those moments in games. So yeah, this has that in spades throughout the entire thing. Some of the bosses are a little bit more of a breezy, easy experience. They have like a smaller health bar, but still fun to fight. But then those like high budget, high quality fights that come maybe at like the end of the chapter are really fun to dig into and really enjoyable. Visually, on the PS5, I played on PS5 performance mode, so it's prioritizing frame rate, so the visuals take a little bit of a hit. Textures aren't the best, but I would say because of its art style and its framing, it hides a lot of that really well. There's some vistas in this that look gorgeous. I love the art direction. Like I said, the freakos, the enemies that you're fighting look really interesting. I think this game looks great. There was a lot of discussion on why everybody only got PC codes and that what were they hiding on PS5. I think it looks great on PS5 personally, but I would say that it doesn't. We're getting into the negatives. It doesn't run the best on PS5, but not so much so that I think it really detracts too much from the experience. You'll get the occasional stutter or stop that'll pull you out of the experience, that'll pull you out of your immersion, but it never got me killed, which is essential here. Like if I was dying because of frame rate issues, that would be a different story. That would be like a huge knock on the game, but for that, I don't think it's really that much to write home about. This game is too long, in my opinion. I think that the combat's really fun and enjoyable, but it's not deep enough to warrant a 35, 40-hour first playthrough, and that's not even digging into a ton of the side content. Like I did a lot of side content, but I know for a fact that there's more that I didn't touch. So I would say that it needs like one more extra added element to the gameplay to make up for that length and really kind of keep it from feeling really stale and really repetitive. By the end, I was kind of done with the game, and I was just like, okay, I just want to get this over with. But it was still really enjoyable, but I just don't think it holds up throughout its entire runtime. Like I kind of wanted them to add another weapon or something, like a sidearm or something. That was my idea of how to fix this problem. But for the most part, there is a lot of depth here when it comes to the stuff that's added and it's drip fed to you. But by the end, in the last few chapters, you're like, I'm not getting a lot of new stuff that's really enjoyable to utilize. So that definitely took away from the experience for me. There needed to be a map. There's no map in this game. I didn't know when I was on the path of side content or if I was on the path to the main thing. And when I did want to go off the beaten path and do some side bosses or whatever, I would find myself accidentally going into the next main quest. And I'm like, oh, I'm carrying on with the story right now. So I was confused on that. And lastly, when it comes to the negatives, I really wanted to enjoy the story. And I think thematically and presentation-wise, it's really cool and interesting to see, but very confusing and convoluted to understand. I was paying close attention in these cutscenes, and there's a lot of cutscenes, and I had no idea what was going on by the end of it. Like, I wanted to understand it because I know the story is like really important to like history and everything. So I was really excited to experience the story, but I just could not understand it as hard as I was trying. So with all that in mind, I think this is a great video game. I had a ton of fun playing it, but the longer it went, the more the cracks started to show, the more stuff kind of started adding up, and I started to enjoy it less and less. I think 8 out of 10 is a rock solid score. And I know a lot of people like look at scores a little bit differently. They might be disappointed with that 8 out of 10. It's a great video game. I just can't ignore those detractors, those elements that I think take away from it. So that's my review for Black Myth Wukong. That's how I feel about it. Highly recommended. 8 out of 10. Go check it out if you're interested, but just be aware of those negatives. So yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I'm not going to follow up. We'll get into the longer form review now. That was a great short form review, because there are just those questions that I know our audience is going to have following up an 8 out of 10 score. The first thing that I want to remind people about, just with, if you listen to the podcast, I am known for giving some higher scores in my day and everything, and just like really loving the gaming run that I'm on right now because I'm just playing a lot of great, amazing, like unbelievable games. But an 8 out of 10 is still a great video game.
It's one of the best games of the year.
Yeah.
For sure. As of right now.
Guaranteed top 10 for you?
No. There's too many great games coming. I could see myself scoring 10 games higher than Black Myth Wukong. And like Stellar Blade, which is of a similar ilk, I would say, I think is a better video game than Black Myth Wukong. But they're both great. Like I just need to keep harping on that. Like, I know that this game is super popular and sold a ton of copies. So like there's an expectation, I think, from a lot of people that like reviewers are going to give it like a 10 out of 10. Like it's up there with Elden Ring. It's not even close to Elden Ring. Like, and I haven't even beaten Elden Ring, and I can tell you that. Like, it's not even close. I'm sorry. But it's a great time. It's a great game.
I do want to also preface this for long form now. I've played 6 hours of this. I've hopped into it. I am through the Tiger boss, plus a little bit more. I've just been pulled off to do other reviews. I intend on beating it this year. That I have a little bit of a break after a couple more reviews. But like, yeah, I agree with almost everything you said. Like, literally, you and I have gone back and forth of just how we felt about this game thus far. And through our conversations, you had gone up in your score and then ended up landing on the 8.
I was originally at a 7.5.
Yeah.
Because I think that first area is bad. I think it is like there's a lot of problems in that first area that despite all of that, I was still like it's a good game. It's not great by any means, but like I really do not like that first area. Second area really opens things up. And when I did that first string of side quests that led me to all those bosses in the second area, like the other area, like it transports you to a whole different area with like multiple boss fights in it. I was like, this is good shit right here. This is really cool. Like, and then I think I was like closer to a 9, like deep into chapter 3, and then it just kept going. Like people always say it's a boss rush game. Want to reiterate this? There's a stretch in chapter 4 where like you don't fight a boss for like an hour. It felt like 2 hours maybe. Like there is a long stretch, or maybe you're fighting like a small, like something that does have a health bar that like shows up that indicates that it's a boss fight, but is it like a mini boss fight? It doesn't feel like it's like this like main like grandiose thing. It felt like another fight rather than a moment that you get with some of these boss fights. So like it's not a boss rush game. I also will argue that it's the discourse around this has been going on for weeks, and I'm missing the boat on it. The conversation has already ended. Is this a Souls-like or not? It is my opinion that when somebody asks if something is a Souls-like, they're asking, is this game difficult? Am I going to feel like I suck at it? Yes. With Black Myth Wukong, you will get your teeth kicked in on certain bosses for certain stretches of times. It definitely ebbs and flows. Like, I think those 2 bosses in chapter 2, the tiger boss and the final boss of that chapter, may be the hardest in the game, just based off of where you're at. And then the final boss cooked me.
Yeah.
But they can be made easier by getting certain items by doing quest lines, which is another like thing that I do find annoying, that like you'll get to a final boss and they'll have a final phase, and if you know about these quest lines, you'll know that like the item that I can get will definitely help out with this final phase. So now time to go do a 4-hour excursion and then come back to the final boss. When I felt like I was almost done with the chapter, it's hard to just like swallow that pill of like, I got to go do something else for 4 hours, basically.
I totally understand that. For me, it's a momentum killer.
Right.
You're like, oh, let's go. And then you're like, oh, shit. And then it's always the question of, is the quest going to take more or less time than it would if I just rammed my head against this boss for hours?
There's that one guy who makes TikToks. He's really funny. He's really big. He has long, curly, like Troy Polamalu type hair or whatever. He's awesome. You've never seen this guy? He makes great content, but he was streaming him playing Black Myth, and he was on that final boss, and people were commenting, being like, go get the item. And he's like, dude, I'm not doing 4 bosses to go get the item. I'll just piece this boss up. And I think he ended up doing it.
Yeah.
Eventually, because you at some point you're just getting your teeth kicked in, and you're just like, I'll just go do it.
Yep.
Like, because I think it probably would take you longer to just keep beating your head against the wall with some of these bosses. So I will say on the Souls-like thing, if you don't like games that are hard, this game is not for you. It is not for you. And I think most people are like, it's closer to God of War. It is not.
Yeah, it's not.
Like maybe in like the arcadey style of the combat, sure, I get that. But when it comes to like the level of difficulty, it's not even close to base game God of War on like a normal difficulty level.
For me, Ragnarok was at most, the longest a boss took me was 30 minutes, maybe.
I don't think even that.
Maybe?
I think that for the most part, I might have died like a couple times on any given boss in that game.
And there was some moments that like I definitely was like, okay, this is a tougher section. You could feel the weight of what the game's throwing at you. But this game's beyond that. You and I disagree on what a Souls-like is and all that.
It's not a Souls-like. It is not.
Yeah.
It's a Souls-light. When you die, you go back to your bonfire, which in this case is like a shrine. But you don't lose all of your currency. That's the big thing. So it's not. But the issue with it is that I don't think when people are asking, is it a Souls-like, if they're asking about that, they're asking about, is it hard? And it is. Like, I'm sure there's people who are way better at games than me that are coming to this game and be, it's not hard. Yeah. That's fine. But I think for the average person, the average player, this game is going to be difficult. And if you don't like difficult games, you're not going to like this.
Yeah,
so.
It's a difficult game for sure. So I want to go and ask a little bit about those open world quests. Do you wish that these quests were on that main path and that it was a little bit more linear, or did you find joy the moment that it wasn't even just going to the boss, but the idea that, okay, there will be a moment where I should go and do a quest that will give me an item that will end up helping on that final boss for that chapter? Was there joy in that, or was it more fuck?
So the first time I did it, so there's one in chapter 2 and there's one in chapter 4, and I know there's a bunch of side stuff in chapter 3 that I didn't really dig into, but it's the two like long quest lines in chapter 2 and 4 that get you that extra item to help with the final boss. In chapter 2, I was caught off guard by it and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I thought it was just going to be for that one moment, that was going to be the case here. And then there was going to be other quest lines, but it wasn't going to be like that to help you with the final boss. I got to the final boss of chapter 4, did not realize that it was the final boss. There was no real indication that, oh, this is the end. It was pretty climactic when it came to like the cutscene that played like before it, but I didn't know that this was definitely the final boss. But then he did a move at the end where it's like, oh, this is the same kind of deal as the chapter 2 boss, where he goes into a certain phase where it's like he's stepped it up to the next level. I'm getting cooked. This is impossible. It felt like a huge difficulty spike in comparison to like what the rest of the game was. And I did it a couple times and I was like, there has to be an item or something. And then I looked it up and there was an item. There's no discoverability easily, at least with these side quests.
And that's got to be,
you might run into somebody like, for the one in chapter 2, no major, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's like a boar, like a rhino type individual that you like go up to, and like that initiates the quest line, and he's like standing off in like the field. Like that's pretty readable in my opinion to like go like know to do that. But when it comes to like the chapter 4 one, it's like I said about the maps, like it was a split path where like, and there's like a bunch of winding aspects to it where like I just didn't even go over there because I wanted to go do side stuff, but I didn't know what path was the side stuff and what path was the main stuff. Yeah. So like, well, if I could have just naturally found that, I would have done it and been excited about it and been really into it. But the fact that I get to the final boss and then I'm like, okay, I have to look it up and like go figure out where the side path is, it's kind of annoying. I sound like I'm being really negative about this game right now. That is, I'm just digging into the negatives or whatever, but for the most part, I really did enjoy my time.
I'm also teeing up questions on the points that you brought up that were more on the negative side, and I'm going to tee up another one for you that does lean a little bit more negative. And that this is a question coming from me, somebody that's played 6 hours of it and does have an opinion already baked into this. The combat variety and not having a parry. Having all of your defense be from a dodge and the swiftness of the movement compared to having something to block an enemy's attack and feel badass in that moment. No parry in this game. How does that feel and progress further into the game? Did it at a certain point just become like, oh, we're still just hitting circle to slide away? Or was there a point where you're just like, hell yeah?
So here's the thing. Like, I think in a lot of games, in a lot of the Souls-like games, like in Sekiro, you're really focused on the parry. Like you're dodging sometimes, but like it's really heavy focus on the parry. I think this differentiates it in some way to just have a heavy focus on the dodge, if that makes sense. I didn't like it at first, but I do appreciate that it does it makes it set itself apart from its contemporaries. So like I'm fine with it, honestly.
For me, the big thing that I noticed with this game's combat, and this is coming off of playing Bloodborne and Erdtree plus Elden Ring base game this year, the combat, if you're really good at Souls games, a large portion of that is staying up between the enemy's legs, trying to stay up, push. I felt like this game had a lot more left to right mobility with the dodges and back dodges to go and get out of some of these moves. And for me, that actually created a lot more difficulty because I had to go and relearn, had to go and play this.
Yeah.
Do you feel like with the differing movements during some of these boss fights that it makes it a little bit more unique with the dodge? Or do you feel like this is something that will be replicated and lesser than when it comes to games in the future? If this studio or somebody else wants to do it, it'll be like, oh, this is very much like Wukong. Or do you think it's going to be more done by Stellar Blade with their dodge and that slow down back roll that she does? Where do you stand with that? Do you think that this is more of a unique combat style with the dodge, or is it more just paint by the numbers and is already done and less exciting because of that?
I mean, I think that they would probably add another element to this in the future, but for what it is in this game, I think it's perfectly serviceable, and it sets the combat apart from its contemporaries, like I said. So, like, I like this for the most part. Do I think that they'll change it up? Probably. But when it comes to the repetition in the combat, the thing that I really... And the repetition comes from the fact that I really do enjoy the play style that I ended up choosing.
Okay.
So you have, like, your transformations where you can turn into, like, one of the enemies or one of the things or whatever. Like, there's a guy who you get early on that has, like, fire, like, blades. And I used him the entire game.
That's who I'm using.
Then there's the big baby with the big head that you fight in the first area that, like, slams down, and you can like summon them, and that's one of your things. I got him. I would look at the other ones that I would get to a certain extent, like up through chapter 3. I was looking at all of them, and then I was just like, this guy is so good that I'm not changing off of him. And then when I was looking up guides to, like, help me figure out like where to go for, like, certain quest lines, and then to help me with the final boss, everybody was using him. So, like, I naturally just came to the correct conclusion that, like, yeah, he's the best.
Okay.
And then you have your stop it, like, your ability to stop your different spells. You can, like, stop your enemy. You can, like, do a cloud step to, like, get behind an enemy and punish them. And then there's one where you can, like, summon, like, a bunch of guys, like a bunch of clones of you, and they'll, like, go swarm somebody. And then there's also, like, other abilities that you can get, other spells via side quests or just main quests. And I changed it up a few times, and then just found myself reverting back to, like, what was working. There's also, like, different stances. One of them is like a smash stance. One of them is, like, more defensive, like where you stand on your pole and, like, slam it down. There's a third one that I don't remember, because I stuck with the second one, the defensive one, the entire game until the end, until the last boss.
Oh, then you switch it up to...
Well, it kind of forces you to switch it up or whatever. So, like, which is cool. But yeah, so I use that the entire time, and it's like the bones of it is really good. Like, how many different elements there are, great. Like, I listed 3 spells, a transformation, a summon, and then there's also an item, like, slot that you can get to use, like I said, for that one boss fight. But they can also be utilized outside of the boss fight to, like, help you in battle. So, and then you have your different aspects of stances, and then you have, like, your heavy attack, your light attack. So, like, there's a lot of elements here that I think is really good, and it's really fun for a time. But when it doesn't really add past that to a certain extent, like, I feel like I got most of this stuff by the end of chapter 3, and then you have 4, 5, and 6, and it's just like, okay, like, I find myself doing the same thing, hitting a perfect dodge, punishing them, freezing them, getting a bunch of hits in. I would, like, freeze them, and when they were about to pop, I would slam down with, like, the head guy. If I didn't get them to, like, break, you can, like, smash them out of it, and you will regain some of your MP. Is like, I had, like, a certain item that let me do that. So if I thought that I wasn't going to get it, I would use that big guy to do massive damage and to regain some MP, and that's very satisfying. Like, it feels really good. But I was doing that for every boss, like, just about every single one. So, like, it just starts to wear on you a little bit.
Well, another thing that can wear on you, we've obviously discussed the bosses a lot in this game, but that's the core excitement of this game. But I want to especially harp on chapters, the later chapters in the game. Those running around and just piecing up the small bad guys, going campfire to campfire. Did that become taxing, or was there still excitement with the enemy design? Was there different enemy design throughout each chapter later on? Did that still excite you in the same way that it did come chapter 2 or 3, or by the later chapters where you're just like, just give me the next boss?
Yeah, I was definitely like, give me the next boss by the end of the game. Like, I think that the enemy designs were really cool. Like the first area enemy designs with like mostly like the foxes, I thought was like just like whatever. Like they're cool, but like they're not like anything to be like, yeah, that's really awesome. Later and later you get there's some freakos in here that's like, oh, these are some cool enemies. But they're not difficult to fight. You never feel like you're in danger fighting a small enemy that's not a boss, which I think would have helped, but then it would have hurt the argument that it's not a Souls game.
Yeah.
So like you can't do that necessarily, but like it's still fun to just slow somebody, piece them up, and then move on to the next guy and utilize your different abilities. It's still fun to like traverse these areas and explore and everything, but for the most part, those smaller enemies, not great. I do think that the later boss fights are really cool, super interesting, and I really enjoyed a lot of them. It did have a progression of, like I said, those first two bosses, or the two bosses in chapter 2, I felt were really difficult. But then there was bosses later on that I died quite a few times on.
Yeah.
Nothing that like really hung me up, but enough to give you that moment of it's close. You hit that last hit on them. You were about to die. You throw the controller down and you scream and you're like, yes. Those moments are littered all throughout this game, and it does strike a nice balance there that I really do think is pretty expertly crafted. So
and then lastly, I want to give flowers where flowers are due, based off of what you've said, based off of what I've played. This is Game Science's first at bat publishing something this major. Developer. Who published it?
They might have self-published it.
Yeah, I thought that was self-published. But anyways, developed by Game Science. This is their first at bat, first time going for it, and it seems like they didn't hit a home run, but they did the damn thing. Are you excited for their next title? Like, are you ready for that pop up, or is it more of just like I want to see what they do next? But I do also want to just literally give them credit, because that dev team literally did the damn thing, took over the world with the amount of copies sold, and I mean, I've had a great time with it thus far. You said it's a great game after completing it, but where do you stand with going forward post Blacksmith?
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do next for sure. Like I said, there's areas for improvement that I think they can iron out the kinks and really make something super special. But I think that they do need to make those adjustments, and that they will. I would imagine they'll get this feedback. Like, critics have been hard on this game, whether it's fair or not. Like, depending on like where their stance comes from, that's beside the point. I'm just talking about critically, almost across the board. There is issues with this game that the critics have. And I think that people who have actually finished the game probably will agree with the general sentiment that I'm talking about here. Nick and I were talking about this. 5% of people have beaten this game who own it on PS5. Like, that is a low number for any game. So as more and more people play it, I think the conversation around this will calm down a little bit. I know that it's sold really well. Lots of things sell really well that aren't the greatest game of all time. Or like, I always go back to like the Transformers movies. Like, the Transformers movies made a lot of money, even the later ones, and they're not very good. Yeah. Just because something sells very well does not mean by default that it is a great or like fantastic product. This is a great product, but I don't think the number of sales like gives it this like automatic, it's game of the year, like it's one of the greatest games of all time mark. I think the conversation will change about this game for the most part to the median, to where most people are at with it, that it's a great video game. So,
and then let's have that quick conversation. Let's have the fun one. We will discuss this down the line.
That's my hot take. So we'll talk about it.
Well, there we go. I love that.
Do you want me to just do the hot take now?
Sure. And then I'll do my review, and then I'll do my hot take. I like this a lot, because I am very, very curious to see where you stand. Go ahead.
My gaming hot take for this week is that Black Myth Wukong, even though I love it, I think it is a great video game, will not win Game of the Year and also will not even be nominated for Game of the Year because of the way that the Game Awards is structured. People need to understand this because we have conversations about the Game Awards all the time and what's going to get nominated. It's very exciting. The way that things get nominated is 90% weighted towards a group of journalists and media that gets to decide what gets voted in, and 10% is the audience votes, as I understand it. So the critics around this game have not been super kind to it. It seems like 80, 81, 82, like people think it's a great game. But it's not in that upper echelon that gets you Game of the Year, a guaranteed Game of the Year. Stuff like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth at this point, I think, is a shoo-in for it. Then you have your stuff like Zelda that has yet to come out, but it's Zelda. Like, I feel like it just gets that bump automatically. What else for this year? Metaphor ReFantasio, I think, has a really good shot. So you have a bunch of games that are still left to come out that I think could eke out Black Myth Wukong for those 6 spots. Stuff like even like Helldivers 2 or Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth that was received really well. Tekken 8. Like, I think there's a lot of games that have a chance that have come out previously and are coming out later to eke out Black Myth Wukong for that Game of the Year conversation. That's not an indictment from me. I think the game is great. I need to harp on that. It's a great video game, but I don't think it's going to win, nor will it even get nominated for Game of the Year. That's my hot take.
We've had this discussion many times of what we think are locks that are the people looking out. I do want to bring this up. Metacritic, 80 reviews for Black Myth Wukong, sitting at an 82 right now. Tekken 8 is at 90 reviews and sitting at a 90. There's a panel of over 100 media and influencers that get to vote on Black Myth Wukong, or not Black Myth Wukong, they get to vote on the Game of the Year. And it is very, very interesting to have those different aspects come into play where it's like the media gets to decide. The people that are like journalists, IGN, the GameSpot, these big outlets, and then some medium to larger size outlets get to vote on this. I'm really curious out of those outlets when they're in the war room, when they're having those discussions, who's going really hard for it? Who's going super like Black Myth is the Game of the Year? I don't think that there's a lot of people. I can promise you that there are people going crazy over Tekken 8. That is like one of the best games this year. I promise you that people in the media and the journalists had such an amazing time with Helldivers 2. They only get to play a game like Helldivers 2 for a month or two. And those first couple months of Helldivers 2 was awesome. And then they have to move on to the next review. That is definitely in contention. I don't see that fervor from the industry in the way that I've seen for some other titles this year. The only thing that is confirmed 100% that I think will be there at the end of this year is Rebirth at this point. That is the only thing that I'm like, yeah, that's just going to get nominated because, I mean, critically acclaimed, it's at like a 92 on Metacritic with a lot of reviews, and it is a expertly crafted open world game. That will be there. I'm really excited to see the music played at the Game Awards. Other than that, the first half of the year was a lot of question marks and a lot of highlights from some smaller games, and then some of the bigger titles were just like, this is pretty great. Shadow of the Erdtree is an interesting discussion that could get nominated if they allow for a DLC.
Dragon Age could be great. I think Silent Hill 2 is turning it around, apparently.
Yeah.
A lot of previews seem to be very positive about Silent Hill 2. You could have indies like The Plucky Squire or Neva up there. Or you could have Balatro or Animal Well up there. Like, stuff that was reviewed really, really well like on the indie side could get up there over Black Myth. Like, the most important thing when it comes to the discussion around it is Metacritic score. Probably. Because that's the indicator of where the journalists are at that are voting on this.
Yeah, the journalists are the people that are verified on Metacritic score for the critical review and the amount of scores that go into it. I think that another interesting one is could Persona 3 get in there on Reload.
Right, but Persona 3 Reload reviewed really well.
But my big question to the audience is, Yes, the sales are there. Yes, it is a great game. Like, I don't want to take anything away from what this game has done. And honestly, I love when video games are cool. And this is a moment that video games are cool.
And here's the thing. There's always been a discussion, like when Fortnite was really big, like what is the game of the year? Not like the best game of the year, but what is the game that has taken over the conversation? What is like the most talked about important game of the year? For that year, it was Fortnite or whatever. Like when Fortnite like really blew up, even though it wasn't the first year that it came out, but like when Fortnite was at its peak, that was the game of the year. When everybody was posting their victory royales on their Snapchat story, it's like that was the game of the year for that year. Even though it wasn't nominated, it shouldn't be nominated, but that was like the zeitgeist moment. Black Myth Wukong is having that zeitgeist moment. Had that zeitgeist moment. It probably is the game of the year when it comes to that. But if we're talking the best game of the year, I don't think it's even close.
The last thing that I'm going to leave you guys with is if we got the call from Jeff Keighley to be like, hey, let's go in and decide these 6 games, I promise you that Connor would go at bat for Balatro to be on our list, and I would go at bat for something like Tekken 8. And I promise you there are very similar journalist panels that are doing the exact same thing, where there is somebody going and saying Balatro is a better game than Black Myth Wukong. We cannot allow Black Myth to get in there over something like Balatro.
If you had me vote today, I think in my 6, I think I would probably bang the drum for Wukong being on there.
Okay.
I think probably I can't think of every single thing that I played this year. I've played 48 games this year.
48 games?
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Like not all new releases, obviously, but like I played a lot of games, and I think Black Myth would probably be my top 6 now, but there is no chance that it is in my top 6 by the end of the year.
Yeah, there's just too many games.
Like, there's just too many great games apparently coming out. Like,
yeah, for me, like, I got a question for you. Games that you've beaten versus Black Myth. They're just things that I have that I know that you've also beaten, and just tossing a couple up to you. The Lost Crown.
The Lost Crown's way better. Or it's a whole 0.5 better. But in my mind, I think it's better.
Stellar Blade.
Better.
Hellblade.
Worse.
Hellblade
is worse.
Rebirth
is way better.
I'm just trying to think because
Balatro is way better. Animal Well is better. Is better. Yeah.
I was just about to ask though, and then Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 gave it an 8.5.
No,
you gave it a 9.
See, I think, but the conversation around the game has changed so much. I think they're about on the same level at that point. Yeah, they're both great.
But once again, that is your 6 games. So there are those first out. It feels like where it's like the greatness question, and then there is the popularity. Like, will Animal Well get enough votes to go in on something like Game of the Year? I don't think so.
Well, it's really going to depend on how good Plucky Squire or Neva is. In my opinion, I think those are the 2 indie games for the rest of the year that people are going to be really keyed in on and could change that discussion around Animal Well.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of, if not the most interesting year in gaming, because there's a lot of really great games. There's a lot of 8.5s and 9s.
It's a 2019 situation again,
2019, 2021. There's not a guaranteed banger
big dog like a Red Dead Redemption 2
or an Elden Ring
or Last of Us Part 2 or something like that.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Right. Like something that was basically a shoe-in to be nominated and probably win.
It's like you look at 2020, it felt like it was The Last of Us 2, but also Ghost, and there was a lot of great games. Hades, those 3 all were just like so elite that it's an interesting conversation. But 2018, God of War versus Red Dead 2. 2022, God of War Ragnarok versus Elden Ring. Like last year, Baldur's Gate versus Tears of the Kingdom, with us freaking out over Alan Wake 2, trying to get that thing in there for the dub. Like, it's an interesting conversation to have. I love having it. It's my favorite. I love the Game Awards. My favorite day of the year.
The lead up is going to be so fun.
Oh my gosh!
The conversations around it are going to be epic. So fun.
We will do less podcasts because I think we did 4 podcasts last year about the Game Awards. But I'm going to be pushing for as many as possible.
Maybe we should just have a Game Awards extravaganza.
Well, there's the one before where we predict the nominees, where we do this for literally 50 minutes, and then after they get it announced, we predict all the winners, and then after that, we predict what's actually
gonna get shown.
And
so maybe for the winners episode, we do the predictions as well.
Okay,
I think that's a fair. It'll be a 3-hour podcast, but that's fine. That's the thing. Nick and I have talked about this. As long as we have the time to do it, I'll sit here for 5 hours.
Yeah.
I don't care.
We moved shooting this podcast to Sundays literally with the mindset of this is the last thing we're doing before I have to edit and do other things. But like when it comes to people in this apartment, we are able to go as long as we need to. And it's a lot of fun. Though these later podcasts have been awesome. Great time.
I have to go to the bathroom really badly.
Okay.
So I'm gonna yap.
Yeah, I'm just going to do my hot take then.
Okay, yeah.
And Connor knows what my hot take is.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go from there.
That sounds good.
All right. Because I also probably need to follow it up. I'm just going to let him walk out of the room so there's not that noise. Cool. My video game hot take for this week is about absence making the heart grow fonder in video games. There are titles that have these annualized releases, Madden, Call of Duty, that at a certain point you shrug the shoulders and you just go, I don't really need it anymore. I don't really want it anymore, if I'm being honest. Give me a year or two off so that next time it comes out, it is a statement game. It is something epic and important compared to the fact that we're just waiting for the next one and it's a whatever release. You look at what college football did this year, one of the biggest releases ever because it's been a 10-year wait. You look at releases upcoming like Metroid Prime 4, that super long wait, that super large excitement comes in with Metroid Prime 4. Obviously, you have the Switch that is going to make it sell hundreds of copies just because the user base on the Switch is insane. But it's really, really, really exciting when there is a moment of wait and then give us the thing. I know that all of us want the thing right away, and that is okay. That is a completely acceptable thing to have. But waiting, I promise, goes and has a huge return. There is the right time to wait on things, and then there are going to be those exciting annualized releases. And if you're going to do a more annualized release, look at what Zelda's done. Tears of the Kingdom, big open world banger game, and now we're getting Echoes of Wisdom. Let's make it a 2D art style. It's completely different than anything that we've gotten other than Link's Awakening recently 5 years ago. But it's been 5 years for that game. There's excitement and there's fervor when it comes to, hey, let's just push something down the line and then give us the thing. I'm very, very excited for the games that, like, we haven't seen something from Naughty Dog in a very long time. That next Naughty Dog release, that excitement around it is going to be there because it is the next thing after a very long wait. If it was just one after the other, at a certain point, it would become a little less exciting. I think that even though Insomniac, we love Insomniac and what they've done, it's like, okay, we got Spider-Man in 2018, 2020, and then 2023, like, we can chill it on Spider-Man. If there was a little bit more wait time, I promise, if Spider-Man 3 comes out in 2029, 2030, if we get a little bit of a break and get some other titles in there, it's going to be awesome. So that is my hot take for this week. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I'm very, very excited for some of these later released games. Give it a beat. I'm going to use the rest of it.
Yep. So when it comes to that, though, like, I kind of feel like I prefer the age when we got like Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 in 2007, 2009, and 2011, where it was like back to back to back. It felt like it rode its own hype. You know what I mean? Like, it could tell a very cohesive story that like doesn't get lost in the weeds because they're so close to each other that, like, man, I miss those days. But I know that because of development time and because of development costs, that it's just getting out of control. But I would say that we play a part in that. We are the problem in some capacity. We demand more. The prices have gone up, so we want longer games. Something like Spider-Man being 15 hours, people are complaining about that and being upset about that. So I feel like there's no winning here. That like you can't make a shorter game with a shorter development cycle because it'll get panned because it's not long enough, but we'll never. Then you'll also get complaints about games taking too long and where the heck is GTA 6? And it's like, dude, like that game is probably going to take forever to make because it's so big. Like, it's just, yeah. So, yeah, you can't really hop into this conversation because you probably don't even know where I was going with it. But let's hop into your Star Wars.
Where are we at time-wise?
Outlaws review. Hour and a half.
Oh, it's not that bad. I thought that we were going to be. I thought this podcast was going to be an hour and 15 minutes. I thought this was going to be one of the shorter podcasts. We
spent 40 minutes talking about Oasis in Black Ops 6.
We also, by the way, we're going to do the draft, and then I'm going to pull up the YouTube, and we're going to talk about this past year, and that can go for as long as that needs to take. This is an epic episode, in my opinion. Like, this is one of the big ones. Like, doing another year, or episode 100 is going to be awesome, where it is like, holy shit, 100 of these bad boys have been released. But like for numbered episodes, yes, we've done 52 episodes, more than 52 total with the bonuses and some other stuff and post-game breakdowns being in there. But
How many
52
episodes have you
weeks,
done? Like 60 then?
probably 60, 65.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is awesome. This has been terrific. So we're not done yet. We got a whole nother review, and I'm very excited. Connor, tee me up.
Nick, you just beat Star Wars Outlaws. What is your review? What are you thinking?
Star Wars Outlaws is a game that doesn't do anything expertly. It does some things good, some things okay, and there's just a lot of mid to this game. And the word that keeps on coming to mind is, it's okay. It's all right. I'm going to give this game a 6.5 out of 10 on the Co-op 64 scale. And that is really sad for me, as this was one of my most anticipated titles for this year. So let me get into why Star Wars Outlaws is just okay. First and foremost, the world. This is Star Wars. This is one of the most exciting playgrounds you have in all of fiction. And they stick it to really 4 worlds that you're going to get to explore during the duration of this game, with a few other areas inside spots that you're going to end up, whether you're on an Imperial cruiser or you're just in your own ship exploring the outer worlds. But yeah, this is Star Wars, and it is Star Wars. You do feel like you are in the Star Wars universe. But if I'm in the Star Wars universe, I want things to be great in the Star Wars universe. Sure, there's a heaping healthy amount of cameos in this game, but at the end of the day, that's not what I'm playing Star Wars for. I just want to exist with bounty hunters and cool characters and excitement and cantinas and fun card games. There's a lot of that, but all of it is just okay. None of it is really blowing my hair back. So for the open world design of Tatooine, I'm just like, okay, it's cool to go around your speeder, but I don't have excitement with it. It doesn't feel great. It looks beautiful at times. It looks bad at times, but it just results in me being like, all right, I just kind of want to get to the next mission. And that's not what I should be feeling while playing a Star Wars game. I should be looking around in photo mode every 20 seconds and being like, hell yeah, this is awesome. I'm in Tatooine on a speeder right now. It just always was like, okay, this is all right. As someone that really does enjoy Star Wars, it just kept on being all right. Now, the world and the combat blend those two a little bit together. What do we get? A speeder that you can't shoot on. Connor, you can't shoot on the speeder without using your Deadeye ability like Red Dead, where you go and slow down time and then just click and point. Why? I don't understand it. It makes combat on the speeder basically useless. I don't utilize my Deadeye. I just zip past these factions. And if you're going to put factions around there where I have beef with this faction or I'm chill with this faction all around the map, I shouldn't just have to speed by them. And that is done so because the combat on your speeder is ass. It is not good. That is a bad part of this game. With that also being said, the combat of the cover shooting is okay. It's all right. It's not super exciting. The weapons that you get to pick up outside of your blaster are fun at times to utilize. The grenade launcher is always exciting to pick up and blast away a couple of enemies right away, but you only got 6 bolts in that thing. You drop it, you're back to your blaster. It's just a good time. It's that 7 out of 10 fun. It's just good, but there's not anything that I'm like, whoa, this is awesome. To go and pull out a grenade, you have to go right on the D-pad and then press X and then you get to toss it. It's like, okay, could we have found a way to throw that on a bumper and just make it a little bit easier and more smooth? I didn't love that, and that stilted the combat a little bit. The enemies were always either way too easy or way too difficult, where I'm either just mowing down this person or a droid's going to come in and it's going to take so long to just headshot them 14 times with the blaster, and then finally they go down. I'm like, okay, that should be a little bit shorter. Some of the stormtroopers or just regular people should go down a little bit longer. It should take a little bit more time to get the kill down. But it was tough in combat to be like, hell yeah, we're back in another combat sequence. And then when you're not in combat and you're stealthing or sneaking, this is Uncharted 2 level of platforming. So it's okay. It's all right, but it doesn't feel super exciting or fluid. You are jumping on to a graded sheet of metal, you're climbing up, you're grabbing onto a pipe, you're going across. There's the yellow lines to help direct you. There are times that I'm jumping behind something to go and grab onto another yellow pipe, and for some reason I jump way not where I'm looking at, and I'm just like, okay, that's just poor level design. You have the grappling hook. It should be, in my opinion, I see R3, I click that bumper, I'm swinging. I'm right into it. That's not the case. It takes a little bit of time. It's not that fluid momentum that I want. It's okay. It's just not what I want from a sequencing. Then when it comes to the stealth aspects of this game, there are moments that it's good. It's exciting to go and sneak behind droids. And as somebody that likes to run and gun and get in those combat encounters, I was doing a lot of sneaking. I was utilizing Nyx, who's your little buddy, and trying to go and distract and sneak by. But there are moments in this game that are purely infuriating where I am looking around and there are 3 or 4 people in my close vicinity, or I would even say my medium vicinity, where I'm like, okay, they're further away, but they might be able to go and see me and get me caught and cause an alarm to go off, and then all hell breaks loose, or the level just stops if you get caught in certain encounters. All of a sudden, in some of these encounters, there would be somebody from 5 miles away that I swear that would see me and cause the alarm to go off, and I would freak out. I would be like, I didn't even see that person, because they're so far away. They're not in that close vicinity that I really would get upset with in the gameplay, in the combat encounters, and the stealth. I'm just like, consistently, either it's barely good, where it's like good enough, or it's bad and infuriating, or it's okay. There was never any time that I'm like, oh, the stealth is great, the traversal is great. There was none of that. It was, at times it's good, but a lot of the times I'm getting upset with what the game is providing. Then there's the story, Connor. The story in this game is baffling. I think that the story is hardly okay. I think that there's times that I think that it is bad. I think that there are moments in this game that are completely undeserved with the characters written. Kay, the protagonist, she's awesome. Nyx, your little buddy, awesome. Those 2 characters are the heart and soul of this game. Those are the characters that I enjoyed, because guess what? You're playing as them. You are them. You're able to have these awesome encounters. We are talking about a story that is all about a heist and getting the team together and going after something that is bigger than yourself. The fact that you don't get to do missions with these characters through the main story is insane to me. It is the definition of they are telling me I should care about something, but they are not showing me at all. And it is infuriating. I cannot believe that there's like a mission where they're sort of helping you out a little bit, like alongside what you're doing, but it relied on being more annoying and difficult than having those fun, grandiose encounters, and where you're just like, yeah, we did it together. It's always like, I'm doing this for the both of us, and it's slow and rough. And then there are twists and turns that are so telegraphed that I just am like, this isn't a twist. If you thought that I didn't see this coming, it's lunacy. Of course I saw this coming. This doesn't count as a twist. You're going to tell me it's a twist, but you are telling me it's a twist. You're not showing a long drawn out experience of why I should think that this is legitimately a backstab. It's like, of course this is a backstab. You gave me every reason to believe that this is going to be a backstab, and then it's a backstab. Okay. I cannot understand some of the character writing, the fact that you have moments where it is the classic, oh, this person shows up, that's cool. I don't really care because the main characters I'm surrounded by aren't super interesting. There are a lot of choices that you can make in the main quest line of you can hop around between which characters you want to focus on and which worlds you want to focus on. I think that is poorly designed. I want to spend more time on those characters. It should have been doing one person's missions. Now they're part of the group. The next person's missions, now they're part of the group. The next person's missions, now they're part of the group, and really start to get some synergy with these companions. But when I'm doing those missions to get the next person, the person after, the first person should be with me and helping and building bonds. There's none of that. It is me and myself. There are payoffs in this game that try to be payoffs. They are not. They don't hit for me at all. The story is bland and paint by the numbers. Kay and Nyx have a great dynamic, but other than that, I really don't care about the characters. This is a serviceable game. This is a serviceable open world. You can have fun going and doing missions for the different syndicates, but I don't really love doing the missions for the different syndicates because, yes, I might be getting in good with one, and that's exciting, and I'm able to go and get like special armor or upgrades based on that syndicate. But while I'm getting in good with one, I'm getting worse in the other, and it makes it difficult for a different mission. So it's like, do I really want to do more of these and make my life difficult down the line for a different mission that I don't even know it's going to come up later? I just stuck with one syndicate being like, you guys are going to be the homies. Like every single time I roll up with y'all, we're good. But that just resulted in everyone else kind of hating me, and that was frustrating to say the least. This is a okay game. It is serviceable. If you are excited for this game, there's a lot to enjoy of, hey, you're just in Star Wars, you're doing some missions, you have a cool blaster, you have a cool ship, you have a cool companion, have fun. If that's what you want, it's there. You can have fun with this game. But from a critical standpoint, this game is okay. 6.5 out of 10 for Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah. I mean, I could have seen this coming from a mile away. Just, I was excited for this game when it was first revealed. And those first few trailers, I was like, this looks good. Like, it looks fun. And then the more they showed, it just seemed like it fell apart in development somewhere along the line, that like they needed to make concessions when it came to the visuals. I imagine, like, when you talk about the companion stuff, like, they probably couldn't have a second AI like to work with or like to order around. It would have probably broken the game or something. Like, that's probably why I imagine they had grander ideas for a lot of these that just like did not or was not able to come to fruition. Like, so I'm not shocked by any of this. It was well said, but I'm glad that I'm skipping this one.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got Black Panther instead of Star Wars. I was jealous for a while.
Dude.
I was like, I kind of want to play Star Wars Outlaws before it released. And because I thought it looked cool from those first few trailers. Yeah. And then the closer it got, and Nick was talking to me while he was playing, I was like, yes, I got the right game.
Yeah. So we do like months in advance, literally months, decide who's reviewing what type of game. And like sometimes it switches if there becomes like a huge preference, or we think that like the review would be better for somebody else. Or multiple
people can play it, like that just suddenly have the time or something.
So we had a large conversation of who's doing what, and for me, I am a larger Star Wars fan than Connor nowadays, where I've watched Obi-Wan and I've watched Andor.
I've watched Andor.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Then what have you not watched? Are you all caught up on the Clone Wars? You got through all that?
No, I haven't watched Clone Wars. I haven't watched The Acolyte. I haven't watched Book of Boba Fett. I haven't watched Mandalorian Season 3. I'm done. After Rise of Skywalker and then Mandalorian Season 2.
Yeah.
Then I watched so I guess Andor was the last thing I watched. But like Rise of Skywalker was the beginning of the end for me. And the more I saw of stuff that happens in Book of Boba Fett with like light spoilers for Book of Boba Fett, I guess, with like CGI characters like being brought back, I'm done. I can't do it. I can't do the fan service stuff anymore. Like, I heard Alien Romulus, a movie that I was excited to go see, CGI somebody who's passed away. I'm not doing it. I won't support anything that does that. I think it's just
cheap.
It's kind of gross in my opinion. Like I just don't like it. Like let these people just be gone.
When I say cheap, I mean emotionally cheap.
Yeah,
meaning
100%
like
emotionally
you're
cheap.
Just trying to go and get an emotion evoked out of me
like,
because
why
I
does
cared
it
about
have
this
to
before.
be that character? Like, why can't we get a new character to like actually be in this world? Like start developing new people that people are gonna like. Like, how is there only like 6 people seemingly in Star Wars in this vast universe? It makes no sense.
There is a moment, and I ran Connor through some of the cameos that I experienced. I didn't tell you about one of them. I'm literally crawling through a vent in a stealth section, and I look to the left, and you could totally miss it. I had no reason that like drew me to look to the left in this vent. I look to the left, see a character doing something like cool, and I'm like, nice. Like, because that hits for me.
It doesn't work for me anymore.
It's for me because it's completely, you could have totally missed it, and it's just there if it, like by happenstance. And I'd rather you give me something that's cool than literally just a droid sitting and taking a shit. I don't know. Like, there's some level of excitement there. But yeah, I want to dive a little bit deeper into this game and answer some questions, but like my biggest thing is the characters in this game. I don't get it. There are so many things that they try towards the end of this game make it earned and exciting, and it's not. The first like there's about 20 quests in the main quest line. The first third of those quests are trying to build some level of like understanding what the world is, and hey, like this is how you do a side quest, and this is how you just run through your missions and everything. That needed to be 10% of the game. We needed to have 80% of this game be character build up and meeting the squad and doing things with the squad and having fun with the squad on the main quest line.
It reminds me of Mass Effect 2.
That's
like Mass Effect 2 is like getting the band together story. It's like that's the reason I like that game so much. It's like, and you love these characters. They all get their individual missions to go do with them, their loyalty mission. So you get backstory, then you can also bring them along with you. So they'll just kind of like chirp with you. They'll interact with certain things that are happening in the story just to like have like more character building. It's like, and then you get something different if you bring somebody else on that same mission for your second playthrough. Like that's good shit right there.
Yeah.
Like it's important to building character.
There's none of that. One of my all-time favorite movies is Fast and Furious 5, and it's because it's pure comfort of, oh, let's get these characters together and let's have them do cool shit together and have that back and forth and the banter. There's none of that. Ocean's 11, there's no previously established characters. Within 2 hours, you get the roles, you get some level of personality, you get those personalities interacting together within 2 hours. And by the time you're pulling off the heist, you're like, look, we got the squad, we got the plan, we're doing the thing. I can't understand what they were thinking when it comes to the design of some of these missions and being like, do you think that this is good enough is my whole question. Because in my opinion, it's not. And I know for some people, it is. There's a lot of people having a lot of fun with this game. This game got 8 and more than 8. It has like a 78 on Metacritic. Like this is doing well. And for me, if you want to harp on, hey, you're having open world fun in the Star Wars universe, you can look at my most anticipated like games list. This was number 3 on it, I believe, when we did that list, the post on TikTok.
Really?
I was stoked for this game because I just wanted open world fun in the Star Wars universe. I didn't know that was all that was really going to be there to offer. I didn't mention it, I briefly mentioned it in the short form, but the card game you play in this game, it's good. It's not great.
It's on Queen's Blood.
It's
not Triple Triad.
Nothing is Queen's Blood, Connor.
It's not Gwent.
It's good. It's good. It's not great. Like, and I am a sucker for these games. You guys have seen me on stream playing Tetramaster. I'm playing fucking Battleship on Wind Waker right now, and I'm having a blast with it.
You spent like 45 minutes of one of the streams, one of the most recent streams playing Battleship.
So it was closer to 25. Okay. But it's 9:35, and I was just like, I don't want to really start something up new. So I played 5 minutes of Battleship just being like a goofball, and then like there was 20 minutes left in stream, and I'm like, I'll just send it. Anyways, I like mini games.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, favorite game ever. Love all the mini games in there. This is tough. By the way, I only played a little bit more than 20 hours, I believe, around 20 hours of this game. So you can beat this game. Greg Miller, when he reviewed it, did in 17. Like, you can do this game pretty fast and just move on to the next thing. I think that's going to probably be how a lot of people that are picking this game up probably on a sale later in the year. They're like, oh, I just want to like have fun in Star Wars and just run through the main story and maybe do a couple side missions like I did. I did one of the side missions just because I wanted to see what they did with one of the cameo characters, basically. I was like, I wanted to see what that is. Wasn't interesting enough for me, even though you had someone that I was kind of interested in. Yeah.
So when it comes to the open world, you talked about the speeder and like just blitzing past enemies and not being able to shoot at them.
Yeah.
Is the expectation, are these like bases? Are these like Ubisoft bases that you're clearing out?
Not necessarily bases. So there's the different factions in the game that all have different beef against each other. I was a Crimson Dawn person where I'm just like, I'm riding with the Dawn, baby. Like, these are going to be my people. That I'm going to do every mission that allows for a decision to get in good with them or in bad with somebody else. I'm going to just choose that option. There's territories in the game that are the other factions. And then obviously there's going to be my Crimson Dawn faction also will have areas. When you roll through those areas, you're not safe. You're in enemy territory, and they'll just start lighting you up. And so it's not really like.
Are you expected to get off the speeder and go fight them?
I don't know.
And do you get anything out of that?
But I didn't. There were the times that I would go and like get in those encounters, I would be like, the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Right.
Like I'm not having enough fun in the combat to want to go through this. And like some of these areas are big. This is this faction's territory. So I'm just like, okay, I don't know how many enemies are going to spawn through this thing. If it's more than a couple, like there was a moment where like I'm on the speeder, it's early on in the game, you dead eye, you take out a couple people, and then you're swarmed with more, and you're just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do more of this, and I'm doing more of this. Like I want to be done with this experience, and I'm not. You're just making me like there are moments later in the game, like I said, the first 30% in this game is build up to something that happens, and you're just like, well, all right. Like I wanted more core experience, but then the core experience of this game is just also not great. But when you're doing those core missions, those, hey, I'm trying to build up to getting one of my companions, and you have to go through like 3.6 kilometers worth of speeder, you're just like, kind of wish we had a fast travel point on that one yet. Like there are fast travel points that you can unlock and get to at a certain point, but you have to go to that location. And there's a couple planets that I'm like, oh, you got to make this a little bit closer, dude. Like you just gotta make it close enough where I'm not dreading some of these speeder runs.
Does it feel like an open world for open world's sake?
Totally open world for open world's sake. There's a lot of bloat to the game, and I'm not in love with a lot of the bloat. It's a lot of just like, okay, like I'm all right with the bloat, but like I said, this game, if you want to get lost in Star Wars and you're really excited about it, spend the money. Honestly, support Massive. Like this is a serviceable game. There's value to this game. There's just
I suspect this game is going to sell decently well.
Yeah, like hotcakes, because it's Star Wars and it's open world. Like
I don't know about hotcakes.
I think that this will sell.
I'm curious
a lot
if it'll get a sequel.
It could. They leave some things open where it could.
Here's what I'll say about modern gaming and a first outing. I think somebody put out a hot take or something about this on TikTok. I forget exactly who it was, about like studios getting a second shot at something, and that's like really where they cook. Like most recently I played Pikmin. Pikmin 1's fine. I've heard Pikmin 2 is like they really cook with it. Assassin's Creed, if Assassin's Creed 1 came out today, not talking about like how big it is or just the quality, that we would have not gotten Assassin's Creed 2, and people love Assassin's Creed 2. Like you don't get that. So like the fact that we just aren't going to get like these improvements that could be there with Star Wars Outlaws is kind of a bummer to me. Like I think there's something here based off of what you're saying.
Oh, there totally is.
But like they just need the second go.
It really comes down to if they were able to let me shoot on the speeder, to make some of those, like if I'm on the speeder this much, make it more fun. Because I am having a good time like sending it off ramps and on this thing and like drifting around. I obviously love racing games.
There's races in this, right?
Yeah, you can like go and find someone to race against, and it's a good time. But like, I'm on it too much for that not to be the case. Right. And then, if you were able to develop a story where you have a 20-hour story on your hands, how can you not, through the character writing, make it more compelling and dynamic, and have these characters bounce off of each other? That's the other thing too. Like, Kay is the main focal point, obviously, between these characters and like her relationships. But I would have really loved like some banter, a lot of banter between side characters. Like that's where the fun is in these group stories, getting the game together stories where it's not just, hey, it's only about this person.
Kind of get that in Jedi Fallen Order, from what I remember, with your crew.
Yeah,
like they're all interacting, they're all hanging out.
Talking.
Like there's dynamics between each other. Like it's not like it's not doable, obviously.
Yeah, it's like my whole thing is, could we get some of these cutscenes? Also, there's the big budget cutscenes where like you're like, oh, this is where like a lot of the money went to go and get this CGI together. And then there's like the in-engine cutscenes, there's one of like the more emotional moments in this game, or attempts at being an emotional moment, that I'm like,
why does it look like this?
You cannot have it look like this. Kay's character model has rough moments in this game, and I'm like, she's the main character. Like everyone else, you only bring up a couple times, but like, and like, there's moments she looks great, and it really works, and the game is stunning. Like I said, there's moments this game is stunning. There is a moment really early on in this game where you're basically overlooking a casino, and a lot of people have pointed this out. It's like one of the first couple missions. It's photo mode, baby. It is like, holy shit, this is beautiful. And then cut to this cutscene that I'm talking about, where I'm like, this is supposed to be emotional, but I can't invest in the emotion because it looks too goofy.
So with the combat, do you feel like, because you have your blaster, you can pick up another weapon, but then you like have to drop it.
Yeah.
You can't like holster something. I know like it might look ridiculous or whatever, but so it just have them like just put it on their back.
Sling it over their back.
Like Uncharted. Like they've already stolen the traversal from Uncharted when it comes to the platforming, which is fine. Like I actually like the
But I like the platforming, but once again, it feels a little bit more like Uncharted 2 than Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4, I felt, and I could be wrong, I haven't played Uncharted 4 in a couple of years, but like there was a lot more fluidity of the, I'm flipping this over and it feels good to hop on that grappling hook. This grappling hook never felt good. Sorry to interrupt that question.
But then when it comes to the combat, when it comes to shooting, like I feel like if they just had the ability to have some sort of arsenal, or just like be able to pick up other people's weapons, and there to be a lot of diversity in the weapons to like kind of fill out your loadout or whatever, like rather than like really focusing on the blaster, because I've seen gameplay of the blaster, it looks fine.
Though there is some fun to be had with the blaster, where there's like, if you can overheat it and then you have to time a cooldown and then go back to it. There's like some fun mechanics with it.
It's just one gun though,
but it's only one weapon. And then I need to bring this back up. The grenade, like you have to go right on the D-pad and then press X. You only get one grenade. You have to do that again if you want to pull out another grenade. And I'm at the point where, okay, there's some of these heavier droids coming in that, like I said, you need to shoot.
They're spongy.
So many times in the head. Like, because if you shoot body shots, you're going to be there all day. You need to be going for the headshots on those guys. I just want to yeet 3 grenades at these guys and just take them out. One,
2,
bang, throw. Okay, that missed a little bit. 2, bang, throw. Okay, there's now droids coming in from over there. I'm going to shoot them a couple times. 3, bang, go. It takes me 30 seconds to throw 3 grenades, and that is insane. That cannot be the case.
It just seems like there's just a lot of oversights in this game just in general that, like I said, with the sequel, I think they could do something special with this and really kind of iron out those kinks, but I would suspect that you're not going to get it, but also I still think this game is going to sell pretty decently.
I hope it sells.
Off of the Star Wars
I
IP.
hope it sells decently. I hope they get another shot at it. Because guess what? You want to know what would be nice? Hey, let's bring some of these characters back that we already have these dynamics started with.
I would say just restart.
But it's the whole issue is they showed, or they told us. They said, hey, you should care about this person because of this. And I was like, okay, show me why I should care about them. There's one character that's a bomb specialist that like you do have a little bit of a moment with them where like it feels like some of the gameplay is a little bit more revolved around them. That's not really the case though with a lot of these characters. It's just tough. I feel, and we've discussed it all the time, I review games highly often, but I've also been playing a lot of really great games. So that's why I reviewed them highly often. This was the first time, maybe in our company's history thus far, where I'm playing a game and I actively had moments where I'm like, I want to be doing anything else. Like, I want to be watching TV. I want to be doing company stuff. I want to go for a walk. I like
BO6, baby.
BO6 is on the Xbox Series X right now. Like, I want to be doing other things.
5?
Yeah, I played it on PS5. I should have said that in the review.
Series.
But it's tough. I really it's an okay game. I am so excited that I don't have to touch it ever again.
Right.
I am like all the time. I have a space issue on my PlayStation because I still have FF7 Rebirth downloaded. I have Tekken 8 downloaded indefinitely. Black Myth Wukong is 100 gigs and I'm going to play that. And like, so I'm so excited to just be like, get the fuck out of here, dude. I am done with you. You are off my PlayStation. Once again, I had good times with this. There's moments where I'm like, oh, they're doing something here, or there would be stealth moments where I'm like, oh, yes, I did it. Like I got around everyone and snuck by, and those are great video game type moments. They just were few and far between with shitty character writing in between. Like it was either shitty character writing or it was okay character writing. The gameplay was okay and sometimes good. The world was okay. That's sort of how I got to my conclusion that this was an okay game. The reason it's a 6.5 and not a 6 is because I did enjoy every now and then looking around, like, and just being in Star Wars. I was like, cool. This thing, it goes back to what I said on the most anticipated list. I want this to be a 7 out of 10 that I love like an 8 out of 10 because I'm in Star Wars and I'm having fun. But the core game is a 7. And this is, in my opinion, a 6.25 that I love, like a 6.5. You know, like it's
Right.
like there are those moments that I'm like, I'm having Star Wars fun. I'm having the moment with the blaster or a character that I'm like, okay, this kind of works. There is like some of the faction stuff is ran by, I mean, one of them is in the game. It's the Hutts. Like that is one of the factions. And I'm like, cool. Like this, I'm in Star Wars. It's not just Joe Schmo's faction. It's Jabba. And like that kind of works for me. Where I also do love the fact that there's not a overly focus on this is a story about the rebellion or this is a story about the Empire. Both of those forces are at play, but Kay doesn't have like, there isn't the moment where it's like, oh, we need to do a mission with Luke to get her in the rebellion. Like, no, there is, and I love that. I was really excited that they never folded and did that. It was always just pushing forward to the next thing.
Were you at a 6.5 the entire time, or
I moved between 3 scores, 4 scores actually. I moved between a 5.5, a 6, a 6.5, and a 7. There was a moment about 80% in the game before character things started popping off, and I was just like, I cannot believe that we're doing this. There was a website, and this is a fun story. Connor knows all this back end stuff. There was moments that I was like, man, I'm playing this for an hour and I just need to put it down because I'm not in the right mind state to do this. Like I'm just like not enjoying myself, and it's just because it's been a long day, or I just don't really want to be playing this right now. And there's games that do the exact opposite of that, where it's like, I don't really want to be doing this right now, but the game's so good, I'm gonna keep doing it. So I went and sort of paced out this game to be like, okay, I'm gonna beat this on Saturday night. And I looked up a guide that said all the main quests in Star Wars Outlaws, and it gave me a finite number of those. And I said, cool, I'm gonna go to my buddy's 30th birthday, and then I'm gonna come back and do the last mission. That guide was just wrong. It literally was incorrect. There was 2 more main missions, and both of them were long. And I was up until 3:30 in the morning playing this fucking game that I was just like, the best part was I'm playing this game and I'm like, cool, there's actually cool shit happening. They're telling me it's cool. There's some cool cutscenes in here. I'm having like some level of excitement that's keeping me going. If this was just continuing what they were doing in the middle sections of this game, I would have been losing my mind with just being upset that I have to keep staying up and playing this game. I didn't have that though, because there was some cool things happening towards the end of this game. But I think those cool things always fell flat or unearned, and I was frustrated with that. But the gameplay and some of the stuff that was happening was interesting and exciting. Draft time?
Draft time. Alrighty, let's get into the draft. 2 hours in. All right. Ready?
And we have probably another 30 minutes after this.
Oh shit! I forgot about the reminiscing part.
Yeah.
Today we are drafting open world video games. We previously did open world RPGs, and everybody was discussing on what an open world RPG even was. But today we're just narrowing it down, or really kind of broadening it to just all open world games. Nick, you got the first pick. What have we got?
I'm going to choose the masterpiece that is Elden Ring with my first pick. This is an obvious choice if you know where I stand with this game. I think it's one of the greatest games ever. The DLC just amplifies what this game does so well between the open world design, the need to go and explore these maps. They'll want to take down every major foe. It is expertly crafted. This is a masterpiece. Elden Ring is my first pick.
With my first pick, I'm going to go with Red Dead Redemption 2. Excellent story, excellent open world, maybe the most immersive game of all time. Some of the greatest characters, some of the greatest music. Come on, guys. You already know Red Dead Redemption 2 at number 1. At number 2, we're going to go with Cyberpunk 2077, a game that was not very good at launch, but now is one of the greatest RPGs of all time. Night City might be the best video game open world setting ever created. I love it there. It is a hellscape, but I love exploring it. V is a great character. There's a ton of great characters to meet along the way. Johnny Silverhand, are you freaking kidding me? So good. I think the combat is excellent. Play the combat in this game right after playing Starfield. Oh my God. It's so good in comparison. Like, it's such a fun first-person shooter with all your abilities, all your skill trees to dig into. Excellent. Love me some Cyberpunk 2077. Love it.
So Starfield's going to be your fourth pick or your fifth pick?
Shut up.
With my next pick, I'm choosing Tears of the Kingdom. This is a game that consistently blew my mind with the creativity that Nintendo displayed. I cannot believe how amazing it is to solve shrines in this game. Even after the fact of Breath of the Wild, I cannot believe how exciting some of these temples are. I think the pacing in this game is brilliant. The love and need to explore this world in Hyrule is just as good, if not better, in this game than Breath of the Wild. The Sky Islands, the depths add some nice layers, literal layers, to the map and the game and the enjoyment of the exploration. Tears of the Kingdom is my second pick. And with my third pick, you're going to get what you want, Connor. I'm choosing Forza Horizon 5.
Yes.
Forza Horizon 5 is a game that is expertly crafted to be a driving game that anyone can pick up and have an absolute blast in. It's one of the games that I use to relax me at the end of a long day. It's one of the games that I use to excite me by just holding a controller and feeling the power of driving a car. It is awesome, super fun. The fun per minute in this game is off the charts. Every single moment I get to play it, I'm having a blast. There's not a single moment that I don't want to play this game. Forza Horizon 5 is absolutely phenomenal. If you've not played it, get Game Pass, play it, enjoy it. It is an experience that I think every person should have. Forza Horizon 5 is my third pick.
With my third pick, I'm going to go with Ghost of Tsushima. Just a blast to play through. I know that like it has some Ubisoft elements, but the way that it twists those is so interesting, so immersive. You're following the wind, you're following the birds, you're clearing out bases, you're writing haikus. It's so good. I love me some Ghost of Tsushima. The combat is excellent. Great story, great characters. That's my third pick. With my fourth pick, I'm going to go with Metal Gear Solid 5. Put the story aside for this one. I know the story is incomplete for a lot of people. I get it. Let's just talk about it as an open world sandbox. The level of creativity that you have to handle some of these situations is still second to none. Like only like maybe Tears of the Kingdom with its crazy like physics-based elements does it like even rival it. Like Metal Gear Solid 5 is so good and it's still so good. Kojima on top. Let's freaking go. Metal Gear Solid 5 was my fourth pick.
With my fourth pick, I'm going to choose my favorite game ever, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. The fact that this game works is insane. The moment that you realize that you can go from corner to corner of this map and it all renders and works seamlessly is unbelievable. The story in this game is one of the most emotional and impactful stories within all of gaming. The character dynamics, this is the best cast of characters in any game ever, only rivaled by some of the other GOATs like Mass Effect 2. The music in this game is second to none. Every single new environment you walk into, you are perplexed at how the music perfectly describes what you are seeing visually and pairs it excellently. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is one of the greatest open world games of all time. I gave it a 9.5 on our scale. There's a case to be made that it is a masterpiece. I love Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. If you do not know, that is my fourth pick. And with my fifth pick, I'm going to go and choose GTA 5. This is my first foray into the GTA series. I absolutely love this game because it is pure fun and mayhem. The story is pure fun and mayhem. Characters, pure fun and mayhem. The sandbox world that you're able to use, pure fun and mayhem. I love GTA 5. I cannot wait for GTA 6 next year. It's going to be absolutely amazing. GTA 5 with my final pick.
With my final pick, I'm playing to win today. I'm not playing with my heart at all here. I played a little bit of my heart, but with my final pick, I'm going to go with Fallout New Vegas. Just the best Fallout game, in my opinion. Excellent writing, excellent world to explore. Just like really kind of, they did Fallout as Obsidian better than the people who make the Fallout games in Fallout 3. Like, in Bethesda, like they really cooked here. Fallout New Vegas, still the best Fallout game. Love it, love it, love it. That's my final pick. What did you think I was going to go with?
I was shocked when you said I'm playing with for the audience. I thought you were either going to go with Skyrim or The Witcher 3.
Yeah, you see, I'm playing with my heart a little bit.
Okay.
I haven't beaten The Witcher 3, and I don't like Skyrim at all.
Yeah.
But I like Fallout New Vegas. I could have went with Shout of the Colossus was up there for me, but I feel like that
10.
doesn't get you the pull with the audience as much. And then also I went with I could have done Death Stranding. Okay. I love Death Stranding. I would have done Death Stranding over
New Vegas for sure.
New Vegas and over MGS5.
Okay.
Like, so.
Yeah. The last one I had on my board, you described Shadows of the Colossus was also on my board. But Minecraft is just unbelievable. That game is unbelievable to me. I cannot understand how amazing that game is.
It's just more of a crafting game than anything to me. Like,
yeah,
I know, like, it's like Rebirth. Like, I didn't even think of that as an open world game for some reason. I know it is.
Yeah, Rebirth for me checks the open world box the moment you realize that you can go corner to corner on the map.
Right.
And that moment that you do realize and that you do it in game, your mind is blown at what the team at Square was able to do. You are so excited for the remake because you're just like, oh shit, the map's already here. Like it's where are you at with the remake? I'm 2027. We're gonna see a trailer for Final Fantasy VII the remake next year.
Yeah, probably.
Take it to the fucking bank.
So how long was it between release?
4 years
until we saw it again.
We heard about it in 2022. I want to say
2 years after.
2 years. Yes, so we saw it in 2022 because that's the 25th anniversary, and then 2027, 30th anniversary.
Okay.
So for me, that I think hitting the 30th anniversary makes a lot of sense.
I could see 27.
Yeah, which would be insane. The fact that this game only took 4 years.
Though.
Yeah, it would be late 27. And when I say that, I think we're seeing it next year. I think September showcase for Sony or Game Awards would be when that would show up.
Game Awards seems like Square Enix has a good relationship with Keighley.
Yeah,
so.
Which I mean, that's what we're seeing Kingdom Hearts 4 this year, baby.
No way, there's not a chance. Other ones I had on here, I had Assassin's Creed Black Flag, my favorite Assassin's Creed game. I just like being a pirate. I like traversing this world. I know that it has your usual Assassin's Creed isms, just like a lot of people don't like, and I really don't like them either. But I just like being a pirate. So there's that. I had Halo Infinite on there. I love Halo Infinite. I love clearing out bases. I love being chief. So yeah, I love Halo Infinite so much. I had Far Cry 3 on there, the best Far Cry game. People don't talk, like, I know Ubisoft is in a weird place right now, but like, dude, Far Cry 3 and 4 and Blood Dragon for that matter, so good. These were like games that had like potential to be game of the year level quality. Like, people forget that. Like, man, they used to cook. But yeah, those are my honorable mentions.
Nice. A great list indeed.
All right, hit me, Nick.
Connor, 52 weeks of the Co-op 64 return to the casual gaming conversation. I think that obviously to preface this, we shot a lot of podcasts together before this. We shot, I believe, 20.
Just like so inconsistently
from 2021 through 2023. Like, so 2 years, 10 a year, basically.
Right.
That's nothing. So, and honestly, a lot of those were predictions episodes that we were just like, we just want to talk about it anyway, so we'll just do it. Do you remember what our first one was for the new phase?
Was Was it the Spider-Man episode?
State of Play predictions and will Spider-Man 2 flop was the very first one. And a little fun fact for you, I'm looking at the thumbnail. Only thumbnail that we use black font in because I like that it paired well with Venom.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's all we use white font after that. Then the State of Play happened. Also, an interesting thing, State of Play, one of our major things that we would go all out for nowadays, we did it on the couch.
Yeah.
That wild.
And it looked like crap because we hadn't wiped off the camera.
Yep. And also,
there was
also the
totally
gain,
smudge on it.
the gain was up too high, so the audio doubled.
It doubled. It was such a good reaction too.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. But
dude, that State of Play was awesome. It was awesome just because Rebirth.
Yeah.
Then we had things like most anticipated fall games, PlayStation 2024 and beyond, Switch 2's first year lineup. We thought, Connor.
Oh yeah.
We fucking thought.
Everybody thought.
We were like, oh yeah, it's gonna be by this summer.
And everyone thought 2024 was going to be a weak year for PlayStation and Xbox, and then it was going to get saved by Nintendo. Yep. They were going to cook with the new console, and it's like, okay, then you get a new Mario game, and that'll be if we got a new Mario game this year, that's game of the year.
Yeah,
a 3D Mario game
Absolutely.
in 2024, it wins.
Yeah,
guaranteed. No question in my mind. That even with everything coming out.
Yeah,
still.
Will Sony buy Capcom or Square Enix? Which was a podcast that we went and did, or had the idea of way before. I literally used the same thumbnail for it because of the Bungie acquisition, and then we never got on the mics for it. A year and a half later, we finally do. Retro games and going all digital. Finally having a retro discussion, which was one of our more popular podcasts.
I wish we didn't do that. I wish we saved it for later or something. I really do. I love that episode, but so many people weren't listening at that point.
I mean,
how many views?
You look around, it's 300 views, 250. Our first one has 148 views. 400 views, 400 views, and then that one's at 600. Okay. So that was the first.
Yeah, that was a good. I remember
boost.
being excited that episode did well because I really liked it. But that's something that I wish we could do now with our more prevalent audience. I guess go back and listen to it if you're interested in it. And also the conversation around digital is changing and everything, especially with the PS5 Pro apparently not having a disc drive on it.
This is where you and I really were holy shit, I cannot believe what is happening with the channel. The retro episode, I believe, was also during that. That was the first time that we ever said, thank you so much for the support. This is unbelievable.
I think that, yeah.
The next time that we talked was Spider-Man 2 spoiler review.
Yeah, we did a review, but we didn't we did a spoiler cast as the podcast.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. We don't do that now.
Yeah, I think that the large reason we don't do that is because a lot of people want to hear about a game but not have it spoiled,
right?
Even if they're not playing it. So when we do review episodes like this, people that aren't super interested in Black Myth will never play Black Myth or Star Wars Outlaws, are just I just want to hear the boys talk about it, but you don't want to hear about the spoilers anyways. And then it's nice for the people that do want to go and listen to those. They like to have it not spoiled too. But when it comes to something like Spider-Man 2, we played it in, I think that was a weekend.
Yeah.
We did it in a weekend.
We booked through it.
Yeah. And then we shot it on Wednesday. Yeah. So we got it Friday and then shot it on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Insane. There was a moment where Venom's in the game. And I've said this many times on podcasts. The person I was dating at the time, it was 2:30 in the morning. She was asleep on the couch. I shook her awake and was oh! And she was like, I'm going back to bed. Fuck you. But I love that podcast. That was the first time that you and I were holy shit, this is part of our lives now. And I look at that as one of our most important podcasts we've ever done.
Yeah.
Alan Wake 2 impressions was next. You played a bit of Alan Wake 2. We finally talked about it.
Yeah, I couldn't beat it because I thought it was way shorter than it was, and man, it took forever. But and I also couldn't force myself to play it more because I was scared.
We also had Super Mario Bros. Impressions on that episode.
Wonder.
But Wonder, yes. And then, Connor, we got into the stretch. We had predicting the Game Awards nominees. Then I did my yearly reaction to the nominees. Mm-hmm. Then predicting the Game Award winners. So we sat here and did all of the guesses of what's going to win and everything. Each major category. We normally skip over things like esports when we don't know certain things. Then the Game Awards announcements, predictions, betting special. So that was me coming to you guys with an entire list and making bets and have a lot of fun there. Then the Game Awards announcements predictions episode. So we did 4 podcasts about the Game Awards.
And then we also did
a post game.
Yeah.
So then I got a little question for you. How many videos did we post from the Game Awards?
4, 5. It was the Pony game, the Inscription developer. It was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yep.
Did we post the Rising Tides one? Did we post the Final Fantasy 16 one?
Yes, we did.
Blade.
Yep.
And then the game of the year winner, 5.
Connor, you are so wrong. It's hysterical. We posted God of War Valhalla trailer reactions, Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio are back reactions, the OD reveal reaction, fuck. Blade, FF7, FF16, Monster Hunter Wilds reaction, and then the Game of the Year winner, Baldur's Gate 3 winning Game of the Year. Then our first podcast with 1,000 views was you and I the day after, or we shot that one all over the weekend because the podcast that never was me, Brady, and your lovely wife Laura talking about the Game Awards after a wild Game of the Year discussion.
The drinks were flowing.
The bourbon it
killed us,
just destroyed us. I think we were all fine.
I wasn't.
Well, we were all drunk, but we were saying words cohesively at that point. And then the bourbon came in.
I was going night once the bourbon came out.
The bourbon came in and Connor said bye. Laura came off the 1s and 2s. She was uploading stuff. J-Bob was editing things for us. And then Laura comes in and sits down and we talk. It was great.
This year's going to be very different.
I think that there would probably still be a bottle of champagne and then that's it. Maybe a beer during it, but not. I think I had 6 Blue Moons, a third of a bottle of champagne, and then 3 things of whiskey. Just absolutely wild night. And
that next morning when I had to go into work was a nightmare.
I took the day off for work, and I kid you not, it was I wake up the next morning, and I don't know if I've ever been more hungover in my entire life.
I felt so bad, and I just remember standing at work just being like, I'm gonna die. Just it's over. It's over. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And I obviously recovered. We made it through, but man, it was worth it because we had a lot of fun or whatever. But
so much fun.
That was one of the best nights for the channel for his Game Awards. Look forward to that, everybody, for this year.
That was also when we were. There's so many questions we have when it comes to the channel of we don't know what this is going to look like, but we're just going to prepare well and then give it our best shot when we're on camera. Game Awards is the prime example of it, where
we had no idea how many people were going to watch.
At the point, we still were only averaging 17 people on Twitch, maybe less. It was 12 even. We were way smaller at that point. Mm-hmm. Co-op 64 Day was the real large boost of it. And we had over 100 viewers the entire time watching the Game Awards with us, which was unbelievable.
Did we hit 100 during Co-op 64 Day?
Yes. Yeah, we did.
Not very often, though, right?
We were around 100 the entire time.
Okay, gotcha. I thought it was closer to 70.
We were closer to 70 for during. You might be right. I need to look back on that. No, we were close to 100 because after the fact, I was doing partnership math, being okay, if we can get 50 for this long, and then we can become partners and stuff like that.
And now we're not even close.
No, we're not. Well, I mean, we're way closer
than we were. It went back to
20.
Oh yeah, a normal average after that or whatever.
Yeah. So. Then after the Game Awards, a podcast that will be done very differently this year, our Game of the Year 2023.
Yeah. So this year we're going to each do our top 10s, and we're just going to go 10 to 1, me, Brady, and Nick. And we'll just go number 10. What's your number 10? We'll talk about the number 10, and we'll just go up our lists that way, rather than doing a all-together list. And then we'll decide at the end what the Game of the Year is for Co-op 64.
So
it's going to be Final Fantasy Rebirth. Probably.
Yeah. It will be. Then a podcast that blew up for us, that we could not believe it, was our gaming history. And this was when you and I talked about it, I was like, this could be our channel trailer for the time being. It is
the only
such
issue
a
is that
core.
we're using the blue mic for it, so the sound quality is just not as good. That's the only issue with all the early pods is I don't know if I could listen to our podcast early on. If I would just say a new listener, it would be really tough for me to deal with that sound quality. Ugh.
We've done it. Anyways, then best years in gaming. that was a fun podcast. Somebody the other week, I was like, yeah, 2023 is the best year in gaming. And they're like, you have not looked up 2004 in so long. I'm like, we did earlier this year. Like, we literally looked up the greatest years in gaming.
I don't think we did 2004, though.
I think we did.
Really?
Yeah, I think.
No, I think we went from we got to 2007 real fast.
I think we did 04, though.
Okay.
That's Halo
2?
That
wouldn't be 3 or 1. So.
Yeah. I think I'm 90% sure we did 04. I'll look after this pod finishes up. I'm just reading headlines and skipping over things when it makes sense. Hype games for 2024, 2024 predictions. And then, once again, another major milestone for the podcast. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown review. First time ever getting a review code.
Yeah, it was wild. It was after... Or we had a little small period. We had it when... the pre-release, if you got early access, you could play it. No.
So we got it Wednesday. The early access was Tuesday. Our review posted Monday.
So we got out. Oh, but
we weren't at embargo, but we were before any normal person who can just purchase a copy.
I remember because I couldn't look up any guides for the game.
Yeah, that game kind of needs some guides.
Playing a game for the first time without. If you're stuck and you're just stuck, you have no lifeline is so weird.
Yeah.
I'm not looking up stuff for games constantly or whatever. Especially for modern games, they're usually pretty handholdy. But for a Metroidvania, it's if I get stuck, I'm just fucked here. So you just have to figure it out. Luckily, me and Nick were both playing it, so we can bounce off of each other, which is nice. That's that's the best part about having somebody else to do a review with is that you can ask each other questions hey, did you find this? Did you see this or whatever stuff like that. So
grading the Xbox Developer Direct was a unofficial podcast. There's a few of those throughout the entire year. Fantasy Critic Draft. We will do another one of those next year.
Yeah,
we'll have one more episode this year.
No, I don't think
it's just
so.
next
It'll
year.
Just be next year.
Yeah.
We will go over the results and then we will do the draft in the same episode. Yeah.
Tekken 8 review, which was one of my favorites. This was one of those times that we realized there was something about the podcast. It was Tekken 8 review and answering your guys' gaming questions. Should have flipped the headlines on that one because this was a moment where the reviews, especially a more niche review, cannot really hold the weight of a title unless it's a major, everyone's talking about it type of game
like
Black Myth with this review. Or if we were to do Spider-Man 2, again, that's large enough. But Tekken 8 is a little bit more niche. So we learned something that day. And this is also, an interesting point where this is where the podcast sort of came down a little bit after all the excitement of Game Awards and Co-op 64 Day. There was a little bit of a decline in views, and we were discussing and learning and trying to figure out what exactly we were doing as a podcast. So then there's Grading's State of Play in January, which was super fun. I love those post-game discussions with you, Brady, throughout all these. Nintendo Direct predictions, man, oh man. Just so many predictions episodes, but that was for the February Direct. It was an interesting discussion. Xbox exclusives going into PlayStation. That was the discussion after the Phil Spencer came out and or all the rumors were happening, and then the next one was discussing Xbox's future. Episodes didn't do too well, but there was a video in between then, which was K Chunk Explains, which was fucking awesome. And that's almost at 3K right now, which is pretty wild for our channel.
I assume that'll just be there in perpetuity.
Oh yeah, that's gonna hit 10K eventually.
Yeah, going up.
Oh, by the way, we have a new heist video on the channel now officially. Blade reaction beat out Armor Core reaction.
Really?
Yep.
Has this been trickling up?
Yeah, that thing gets every month another 500 views.
Really?
Yeah. It's awesome. Helldivers 2 review. First time Brady was on the podcast.
Nice.
Awesome. Ranking Game of the Year winner, super fun podcast. And
that was also our first time working on the PlayStation.
Yeah. That was such an odd one where we didn't get a confirmation that we were working with them. They just sent things over and we agreed to embargoes and it was cool.
Yeah.
So
and then from there it became okay, let's just follow up on this and see if we can get something going here. But that was our foot in the door. It was nice.
Which was once again a huge fucking moment for the channel where it's Connor and I have looked at each other many times during this journey and been like, are you fucking kidding me? How is this our lives? And getting to work with PlayStation, who I can confidently say is both our primary place to play, really fucking awesome. Ranking Game of the Year winners, and then for me, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth review, spoiler-free review, I can now admit something to Connor and the audience. I didn't sleep that night.
What?
I just pushed through.
You're wild.
I just pushed through. I beat that game at and Connor knows when I beat it. I beat it at like 7:15. Connor came over at 7:30 that morning to do stuff.
So you've been playing all night?
So I played it the entire night, and I beat it at 7:15 at the last fucking moment.
You are insane.
Like,
Did we have to shoot content after that too?
Oh, we shot a whole slate, dude, and it was a good slate.
Oh my goodness, I would have been a zombie.
Oh, dude, there's been 2 times, and I'll bring it up the next time because I believe I know the podcast. I just had to show up. You don't get to complain when you do stuff like that. You don't get to like make it about yourself. You just got to show up and like do your fucking job. And that was a super fun podcast. I was like, I did the damn thing. Anyways, first Q&A is at 2.2K views, which is once again insane for us. But another reminder, if you're still listening to this and you like our channel and like what we do, that is must-watch viewing, in my opinion. That is, how did the channel start? How did we meet? All those like basic fun questions. If you don't know already, go check that out. It's on YouTube, the first Q&A. PlayStation 4 tier list. First time we did a tier list.
Yeah.
1.9K views. Once again, pretty insane for us view-wise. This was another, oh shit, like we can do this. We're doing some cool stuff. 10 games to get you into gaming. Rise of the Ronin review, another time working with PlayStation, which was cool. And then
that was the first time we were able to get something out at embargo too.
Yep. Oh,
that was a big moment.
That was a big fucking moment.
And that's our most viewed review on TikTok.
Oh yeah. And that was an insane
It looks like a PS3
process.
Game. Shut your mouth. No, it doesn't.
Insane process. Another behind the scenes. Like, this is what this is. Just stories and behind the scenes and everything. Me and Brady saw Group Love that night before the review came out. And we were on vacation. Like, that was before the cabin trip and everything. So I took the next day off. So Connor had at this point been posting our TikTok content since around November. So we're well into Connor posting our content. But because I was going to be awake anyways, because I wanted to make sure everything went up embargo-wise on the YouTube side of things, I was going to post this review. Me and Brady get back, and we were processing it, the podcast, and it didn't process properly. And so I had to stay up till like 2:33 a.m. processing it to go and upload to YouTube properly. And then I had to wake up at 6 a.m. to post the fucking review. And I was destroyed. I was a destroyed human being, but I was so excited. And I stayed up for 2 more hours. I had 2 cups of coffee that morning, literally just watching the number.
For the TikTok?
The TikTok.
Dude, the TikTok was weird. It was like,
I mean,
it was a slow burn, and then all of a sudden it blew up. Strange.
And then the podcast number is also really slow burn, where it's such an interesting thing it reminds us we really are still a really small fish in a really big pond.
Yeah.
Reviews go up. There's hundreds of reviews that go up, and then we're just one of them. So trying to go and do cool stuff though, and as we've gotten bigger, thanks to all of the people that are still listening and watching, it is really, really awesome. And that was just a really cool day. But that Group Love concert, coming home and being like, oh, it's already processed, we're chilling. Nope. And I edited the short form that night because we shot it that afternoon. Oh my gosh, there was that was a hell of a day. Anyways, the train keeps rolling for just major moments for us. The next one is, in my opinion, and I mean the views say it alone, the biggest podcast we've ever done, Final Fantasy VII Spoilercast.
Yeah. 3.5 hours, right?
3 hours and 38 minutes, 50 seconds.
Damn.
Have you listened to that one back?
Some of it, yeah.
Yeah, it's something else. When we get to the end of that game and we just talk for an hour about the end of that game, it is some of the most exciting podcasting we've ever done. My voice was shot, and you could hear it. Like, you were just like, oh.
It doesn't happen to my voice at all. Like, I can talk.
I was sick.
Oh, okay.
Like, turning it to was a big thing. And then another major fucking moment, our most popular regular episode, at least for a while. How's that? Oh, holy shit. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Best open world game bracket. Yeah. So this was the first bracket episode.
What's that
at? That's at 2.3K.
Oh, yeah.
Another behind the scenes, the first podcast I ever shot was a bracket episode talking about Hamilton songs. That was back in 2020 when I was in college.
Such a dork.
I'm such a dork. I did it with a roommate and my roommate's friend. And then that was what I did. I shot bracket episodes once a week, and I did like 30 plus of those. They're all now delisted and they're all not on the channel and everything. And a lot of them are just straight up deleted at this point. But like
you have to hide your takes.
Yeah,
there's
bad, some hot
probably.
ones. I mean, it's college me. I was probably hungover during a lot of those things and those shootings. But it was college COVID time, like where it's like, oh, everyone's just working from home or doing school from home, so you just drink all day after doing your 2 assignments. It was something else. But I like really wanted to do brackets. Like that was like my whole thing was like I want to talk about entertainment and do brackets.
So we did the tier list. Why did we switch to bracket for open one? Just because there's so many? That's what we decided on?
Connor, how do you not know why we switched to brackets? Are you kidding me?
No. I'm sure
there's a direct reason. I just want to get this correct. I was off a little bit, but it was still during it. March Madness. It was April 1st.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're like, let's do a little bracket.
I mean, it also makes way more sense for the amount. I feel like throwing.
Yeah, 32.
Oh, it was 32 for Open Worlds?
Yep, just 32.
Oh, that's funny because we started going to 64 for
everything else.
Yeah.
Then we did a state of the industry. We answered your questions. That episode of We Answered Your Questions did way better than the one with Tekken, not just because of the audience growing, but because it was actually the headline. It was awesome. Stellarblade review, which another, that was just you and I. We didn't say for Ronin, though. Brady was on Ronin, too. That was a blast. Stellarblade, you and I talking about this game. Another example, I was up till 4. Dude, there's been like 4 times this year where it's just so late and difficult, but we got the job done. I will never not. If I say I'm going to be on a review,
yeah,
I'm
I
on
keep
that
giving
fucking
Nick shit
review.
about it because Nick's like, I'm gonna finish Star Wars Outlaws. He started it when Wednesday.
Yeah,
so I was like, you're not finishing it. Like, there's no way.
It's 20 hours. The issue was,
but you were busy. Like you had other things you had to do.
Yeah.
Like, so I was like, there's no way you're finishing it, and then you did.
Yeah. I mean, Connor's realized
like you
at
had
this point.
stream, and then you did another stream for
on
BO6.
Friday.
Like, and then you had that you went and hung out. You were supposed to hang out with Brady on Thursday or something, and then on Friday.
Me and Brady were supposed to hang out Wednesday, and then yesterday I had a birthday.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
I went to.
I was like, there's no way he's finishing it.
Yeah.
And he always does.
I always
but
do.
But honestly, I kind of like just saying it and talking shit because then maybe it'll put some pep in the stuff. Just like, well, it's like Elden Ring. It's like, you're not going to beat Elden Ring. You're not going to beat Millennia. And then you're like, I'm going to do it because he said it. I'm not.
I mean, there is nothing that puts a fire under my ass more than Connor saying I'm not going to do something. Where are we at time-wise?
37 minutes.
Okay, that's not bad. It's the 50-second episode. We gotta go big, dude.
Yeah.
People are gonna be like, "Wow, for Star Wars and Black Myth."
They're gonna be like, "Why are they talking about Oasis 40 minutes in?" That's even the topic of the show. Don't for the first part. Don't time code like the specific conversations. Just
it's just gonna be intro and then housekeeping.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Because you're like, I wonder why is there 40 minutes of intro? There's gonna be like, well, what did we even talk about? We talked.
It's Oasis and BO6 were the talking points.
Well, you can highlight BO6.
I don't know. I think it's funnier and just let it ride.
Okay.
Best gaming franchise bracket also had 2.3K views. What we've been playing the first time we did this, for me, the iconic aspect of this is, and I know we talked a lot about a lot of games and you had some great points, but the Metal Gear Solid in the background, where it's just like, this was my first foray into talking about something. Foray. Dude, this is the word too. This is the word that I've struggled with.
No, it's foray and
what?
Schematic is what you say. It's semantics.
Yeah. Those two, y'all.
As
someone that talks for a living, those 2 words.
I'm like, iron it out
every time.
Nick.
I need to. We will get there. Foray, right?
Yeah. Into what? What were we
foray into like mainly talking about something more retro. Like I at this point really haven't had that discussion.
What we've been playing? Sorry.
Oh, what we've been playing.
Yeah.
Then
I really love that. The thumbnail for that one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying with the Metal Gear in the background.
Yeah.
It's a perfect point of what those episodes are going to be in the future.
I love the fact that our thumbnails don't have to be these clickbaity garbage nonsense that you have to like put the person's face like with mouth agape on there. We did those in the past or whatever, but like we were playing more of the game back then to try to like just like win with the algorithm. Now it's just like I I just want the people who want to watch us to watch us. I don't really care about like baiting somebody into watching one of our podcasts.
Yeah, a podcast especially. It's like we will never play the game. I clicked on this one just because I want to try to find a still just to show Connor. This is the Mustache Cast where Brady and I review and played Hellblade 1. Brady and I, during this podcast, Connor, and you've heard this story. I'm mainly telling the audience, and some of the audience has heard this story. We've told it on Twitch before, at least. We're so ungodly hungover because we went out and we partied hard the night prior, where we went to bars that we knew bartenders, so we were drinking free the entire night. I haven't slept at Brady's basically ever since moving up here. That night I slept at Brady's. I was just like, we were close. We were at a bar close to his house. So he was like, I'm walking home. I was like, I don't want to Uber. He's like, just sleep in the guest room. So, and then the next morning, him waking me up and just being like, we're just going to drive to your place. We're going to set up in silence. We're going to get coffee in silence. And then we're going to turn it on and go. And we turned it on and we sent it. And then Brady may or may not immediately after that podcast got insane. He held it together as long as we had to. And it's a great podcast. I listened to the entire thing after the fact because I was like, can you tell that we were, and you really can't, but if you know, you're like, oh, those boys were struggling. And we goddamn were, dude. It was a tough bid. It's interesting going through the year, especially being like, the first half of the year was actually pretty awesome. Then PlayStation Showcase predictions because we thought it was going to be a showcase still. Then,
but it was for a state of play.
For a state of play. It ended up being a state of play.
Yeah.
But the title was Showcase. Then Hellblade 2 review. Then
5 out of 10.
Oh yeah, one of the most impassioned reviews we've ever done. The another, I think, monumental moment of the channel being like, holy shit. 3 different personalities, 3 different reviews, 3 different scores for those reviews, and those are broad differences.
5 to an 8.5 is the
insane.
range. Yeah.
I can officially say, I'm at an 8.
Is it going to be in your top 10 for the year?
I think about it less. I don't know if it will make it.
Dude, you're so high on
I was so high on it, and I still think that it is unbelievable what that team pulled off. My thing that I say in the review was, I was like, I think that this experience will stick with me. And what I've realized is it's not sticking as much as I thought it would. And I still think about Hellblade 1 way more and that first experience. But I do think about that combat experience later in that game where I'm like, oh yeah, they did the damn thing. Then we did the state of play, saw Concord. We did a breakdown of that showcase, Summer Game Fest and Xbox Showcase predictions. Then we went to LA, did those predictions, did the breakdowns, doing the Xbox breakdown that was 38 minutes. I can't believe that we got a full podcast length in, basically, where it's not just like a 20-minute video where you, me, Brady, we yapped it up because we just saw one of, if not the greatest showcase in gaming history.
So hopeful about Xbox at that point.
Yep.
And now I feel so not about their future. So weird.
But that was one of our that's our highest viewed breakdown ever that we did. And it was super cool to be out in LA doing it, talking about some casual gaming stories. Then we did the Nintendo Direct reaction with you and I. Then we did one of our more popular episodes, the halfway check-in, console tier list, and Shadow of the Archery review. That review of Shadow of the Archery was like, Connor knows this, the audience knows this. It was 10 days was the turnaround on it. And like, that was just the goal. I could have pushed it another week and been fine. And like, it was okay. But I literally told Connor at 11 p.m. the night before, I'm like, 2 a.m. is my cutoff time. He's like, you're going to go for at least like 3 hours is a ridiculous thing to go and say. It's going to take me at least 3 more hours after you've been doing it for 4 hours straight, basically. And then I beat it at 2:55 or 1:55. And it was unbelievable. And I was super excited. And then great podcast, great tier list, and it's one of those things where the combination of like the review could honestly for Archery could have been the headline. I think that it would have been. It's big enough, barely, because it is a DLC, but it's big, it's huge. The console tier list though, adding that, also having that episode be live for the tier list was awesome. Super great energy that morning, super fun. Another what we've been playing, which was Hollow Knight's the thumbnail there. That was super cool. Game series you need to play, the 6th game series you need to play. Great episode there. Honestly, and I think that we can both agree. After SGF, that's where we
Yes.
found our stride.
Yeah, we've really been crushing it. Not to toot our own
Yeah,
horn, but
but,
like
like-
I feel like the identity of this and like the cycle that we have, the bullpen that we have to pull from like, let's just do a BioShock Infinite review.
I was about to, so we did review score discussion, which was a super fun discussion.
So
of
like a broad topic.
Yep. And then BioShock Infinite. We were in the down period of the year, and it was like, literally, it got brought up on the 6 game series you need to play. It's in the thumbnail, is BioShock. It was like, oh, you should do Infinite. And I was like, okay. And they're like, I'm going to do it too. I was like, okay. And they're like, this should be a podcast. And I was like, yeah, I mean, we don't have anything
write-ins
scheduled.
for a review. We have our brackets and tier lists. We have our mailbag episodes. Coming up, we have reaction to your hot takes, which people seem to really like.
Yeah.
And we got so many submissions for that like we can only do so many in each episode that like we're gonna be doing
That
those.
episode too, the shoot time we did at a crazy hour, and we, like we said, we never have cutoffs. We literally had to cut off that day, which meant that we couldn't go all day long. We went for an hour and 30 minutes. It wasn't like super short, but
right. So like I just feel like we have a lot to pull from now, which is really nice.
Then we had the best video game hero bracket, which was probably the most controversial one that we've ever done.
It's because we couldn't decide on
Hero
hero or
versus-
character.
Yep.
Well, I thought it was character, or like heroic character. Not, I thought hero wasn't like the deciding
I understand,
factor.
but the thing was, I harped on the hero aspect at the
You
start.
decided
yeah.
to.
And then
I didn't like that.
And then on the back half, you used it against me.
Yeah, because you had like I have to play your game.
Well,
like,
yeah, you're like,
to
if we're
come
doing
out on top.
hero, Link, but if you're doing character, Sora, and stuff
Right.
like that. Honestly, I would love to redo that one day and be like protagonist.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, we'll do villains, but
Yeah.
because I think there's enough villains to pull from.
Oh, totally.
Rather than heroes for like main characters, because you can get like multiple villains per game usually.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes. So
Why we love Souls games was next. First time having Shane on the pod. We
super fun.
talk about it all the time of like what this podcast can be, and the word I use is the Co-op 64 universe. Like pulling Shane up for a podcast and just being like getting to talk for a couple hours
Right.
was awesome. We're gonna have Laura on a podcast.
For
It's
Zelda.
yeah, for Zelda. Is
Probably.
yeah,
That's the plan. I don't
Yeah,
want to make any
there's-
like hard fast
there-
promises.
There's a chance, like my schedule's gonna be weird, and
Yeah.
I know my schedule's gonna be weird with late September, early October, because I'm on a lot of reviews. Like I'm on
Right.
a lot of things that are not Zelda, and so if we get hit with our inbox, I will drop Zelda. I'm not on that review right now.
My whole fear when it comes to reviews and timing is 100% all comes down to Metaphor.
Yeah,
If I get Metaphor 2 weeks beforehand and I have to play it and it's 120 hours, I'm never gonna sleep again. Like it's gonna be bad. Like I'm gonna grind that game so hard to get a review at embargo. I fear it. I fear Metaphor. I kind of want to not get a review code so I can just play it as I need to or whatever. Because goddamn, that game's gonna be long probably. But then we have like stuff like Silent Hill 2 that I think we're all gonna play.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice.
And
I think
then,
we're putting Brady on Plucky Squire.
we're not putting them on it, and that's also
I wanna play it too, but, like, we need
it's
to
also
avoid
a
something.
question mark of, is that embargoed? Is it not? If it's not, does Brady still want to play it? All that fun
Right.
stuff.
If we can get a code for it.
But yeah, there's a lot of fun and awesome titles coming out that are like, but I'm in the boat of like, I'm going to be coming off of Wind Waker right around that time. I'm going to probably finish it in 3 weeks. So yeah, it literally will make perfect sense to go and hop into that after the fact if it makes sense. We very much do not expect to get codes for Zelda. We're like that. We're not planning on that.
Apparently getting a foothold with the Nintendo is really hard.
Yeah.
So we'll keep trying, but
Yeah.
that's going to probably come after
The
release for almost
for
everything.
Sure.
Apparently the previews for Echoes of Wisdom really positive.
Yeah, I mean, what do you expect,
Yeah.
right? Reacting to your gaming hot takes, which, like Connor said, is just another one of those. Oh, we can do this. Like this
If
is
we need to fill a spot,
Yeah.
like, and it's people like it a lot. Like it's not just like we just need to fill something. Like to just throw something out there. It's like no, this is like one of our best episodes, and it's something that we can kind of do to involve you guys, and it's something we can kind of do on the fly, which is good. we have to come up with these every single week. We don't have like a whole list at this point, but
I have like ones that we'll do in the future of like
Right.
we talked about whenever I finish that Persona 5 stream doing a Persona podcast with
Right.
you, me, and Laura. That would be a bunch of fun.
I want to do the
Kingdom Hearts is another series.
the JRPG episode where we just talk about JRPGs and
Like
our love for
there's
them
a
and
lot
why
of
we like them.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun that we have.
Maybe in the future we'll do like
Ideas.
console top 10s, like our own personal console top 10s and
There's-
stuff like that.
There's ideas,
Yeah,
We have a lot of fun, but we also like staying nimble where we're able to talk about industry on this podcast if we need to, or throw a predictions episode in. And Connor knows this, and you guys all know this. The audience knows this. Game Awards is my favorite discussion. So every year, as somebody that has 50% say of what the podcast is, it's like, all right, we're doing 3. We did 4 last time, a total of 5. We're probably gonna do 3 official episodes and then a breakdown after the fact.
For the next, what do we have coming up? We have, we have the bonus Astrobot episode on Thursday, and then we're doing a tier list.
Yep.
What did we do? Oh, controller
tier
Yeah.
list. And then because the rumor mill is swirling, a State to Play predictions episode.
That's like this is like the trifecta. This is like we do the hardcore review, we do a silly tier list, and then we do a predictions episode. Like that's like what we do. Like that's the channel.
Yeah. So and we love it. It's been an amazing road. And then the last episode we did was what we've been playing, and then we've done this episode.
52, baby. So how is it 52? This in our first episode was posted on the 12th, right?
Yeah. I believe it's 52. I know that I did the count the other week, so
you might have
should be
misnumbered
good.
one of the episodes. Is the fear right now?
43.
That would be
yeah,
hilarious.
I mean that could be the case. Bonus episode. No matter what, we've done so many that we're well over 52. 39.
Talking.
Yeah, you
Counting.
can talk. You can talk.
I mean, thank you guys so much
40.
for the support. Like it's been absolutely nuts, a year of doing this. Just overwhelming always. I've always dreamed of being able to have some sort of way to talk about video games and enjoy this medium in this way, just to have an outlet for that. And it's great to do with my brother, and it's great to have you guys along for the ride for us. And it's easy. You guys make it easy. So the only reason this is possible is because of you guys. This is more, it's as much ours as it is yours. Like,
yeah, something that I say on Twitch pretty often is you guys get to hear more of us than a lot of our closest friends.
right.
Like
More than my wife.
I mean,
probably.
like it's insane how much we obviously put our lives in here at this point, especially with like our intros. We don't cut them. We at this point are very like we're never like, oh, we're gonna do a 40-minute intro today. That's never the case, but we always just let the conversation naturally flow and go and take it where we want to be. And so you guys get a lot of our personality. You guys get a lot of I mean, we start out every podcast with how we've been doing, which like I can promise you that I have some very close friends that like don't even hear I'm doing well this week, and you guys get to hear that. It's awesome. It's really impressive. By the way, we are at 52.
Right.
So this whole experience though is been enlightening. It's been thrilling. The consistency is insane, where it's like, okay, even when we did Christmas last year, where I went away back up to Mass for Christmas, we pre-shot episodes for the first time, and we understand how important the content is to y'all. It's obviously so important to us to like step up to the plate because of that, and you guys do a great job of keeping us honest and making sure we're doing the right
We
stuff.
never want to let you down. Some things are going to be outside of our control, and at some point we're going to let you down, I'm sure.
Yep.
But like, we're going to do anything and everything in our power to not let you down and make sure that we're here for you and celebrating this whole industry and enjoying this medium of video games. Because I know that like it can get really discouraging to like be a part of this industry and enjoy video games, and there's bad shit going on all the time. Games are just sometimes disappointing. Games get delayed. Games have like crazy microtransactions. There's a lot of shit that goes down. But like, we hope that we have some sort of level of positivity and joy when it comes to just enjoying this, and that's only possible because of you guys. So
I just double checked. We do have a moment where we skipped a number. we didn't do 13. And I remember making a joke being like, I don't want an unlucky number. But we also did not number an official episode, which is the Hellblade review. That was that was the podcast for that week that came out on a Monday, and you were away. So like, that's why we did that. So we are at 52.
Okay.
That's a long way to say. I mean, I love reminding the audience, because it does let me relax the shoulders a little bit, of we are a 3-person operation. It's tough. It is so tough at times. It is taxing at times.
Wouldn't trade it for anything though.
I've discussed on content being like post review sometimes, or during reviews, it's like, oh shit, like I'm depressed about something else, but I still got to show up for y'all. Like I still got to push through, and that feeling keeps you going in such a way that is rejuvenating to like the soul almost. Like it is really impactful to be like, hey, even when I don't want to, I'm going to show up. And by showing up, you're just like, oh, we're back. Like, this is why we do it. This is what it's all about.
It is addicting. And it's not even necessarily about the numbers or anything, or like the growth. That's all great. And it's exciting, and it's been overwhelming in that department. But like, it's just like the more you do it, and the more the prouder you are of the content, so you just want to do more of it. Like I wish I could do longer reviews. I wish I could do more podcasts. I wish I could do all of, like, I wish I could stream during the day. Like I just want to do more of it. Like even though it's a lot of work, like I would love to do more.
Yeah.
Maybe one day if we can do this full time, but like it's exciting. It's the best. And it's only that way, like I said, once again, because of all of you. Like you make it so easy. And I think that we're so lucky to be on TikTok, and that's our like main avenue and where we have our biggest audience. And we've been able to develop a community. I don't know a single TikToker, and I'm sure they exist out there, that has a Discord community so welcoming, so vibrant, ever growing, as amazing as you guys. Like, and because of that, like I said, I want you to feel like you're a part of this, like, because you are. Like, this is only possible because of all of you amazing people. So getting to meet you, interact with you, talk with all of you has been just the best part of this whole thing. Watching you guys all make friends with each other and meet up with each other and foster relationships is even better. Like the fact that we had some part in connecting people over this love of video games is so fulfilling. And a year into doing this, it just keeps getting better and better, and we can't thank you guys enough for that. So
and then the last thing that I want to shout out is how insanely thankful I am to be doing this with you, man.
Yeah, buddy.
2023 was hard. You know, the start of my 2023 being really difficult. Moving up here was such a difficult transition to be like, oh shit, like I'm gonna be alone for the first time in my life. Like I'm not gonna have roommates, I'm not gonna have parents. And the consistency of getting to do this and have a guarantee of getting to spend time with you and do something that we both love, like, and are really, really passionate about.
Please
is just
stop crying, because I will start crying too. Like I need you to not cry.
Dude, I'm trying, but it's epic. There's no one I would rather do this with.
I've said it a ton. Like the only reason, like I've wanted to do this my entire life. Like I went to college because I wanted to work for IGN and write about video games and talk about video games, and I thought that there was some avenue to do that, and it's a hard industry to break into, and I pursued it, and it didn't work out, and I was like, okay, like I'm fine with that. Like I can still love video games and absorb this and be a part of other people's communities, and I like my job, but like that dream just didn't work out, and like that's fine. But then Nick comes and is like, we're doing this, and we're gonna do it for the love of the game, and we're gonna have fun, and you kick my ass to do it. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And it worked. That's crazy, and I can't believe it, and I am forever in your debt because of that. So thank you.
Yeah.
I don't. Like, why did you have to start crying?
I don't fucking know, man.
Why
like,
do you have to go there? I appreciate you going there, but now my face gets all puffy when I cry.
It does. Yeah, you're good. There's just no one I would rather do this with, and it's the most special thing. And you guys want behind the scenes. Whenever Connor and I talk passionately about this, there's times that people construed it as us fighting. It's like, we want this to be the best thing ever. And it's because we know we can do it. And it's because you guys' support. I've gone many different times and I've said this on the podcast. If I ever have a down day, I just go to the we hit 100K video and just read some comments, because people are like, holy shit,
a lot of people that were there from like
the
early days and believed in us and supported us, like, are along for the ride because it is theirs. Like it's you were there and you're the reason we are where we are. Like none of this is possible without you. And like, so it's cool to like get that feedback and have that connection with people. Like it, like you said, like it does make you feel really good to like hear like, hey, like love what you guys do. Really appreciate it. That feels amazing for us because it makes us know that we're on the right path.
Yeah, you know? We're doing something correct. The survey responses, holy shit. The response of please be critical, and then nobody's being critical, they're just being kind. It's like, fuck, dude, I need like something to go and change or like try to make better. But it's special. This podcast is special. This has been a safe haven for both of us. I can say that confidently to come here and discuss. There's been moments I can fully admit where, and you guys heard whether I'm hungover or I'm dealing with depression or sadness outside of this. This is just like, we just turn it on and we get to go and we get to do it. And I don't know if I've ever left this podcast more upset or sad than I've entered it, where like, it's just, you leave it at the door and you leave it a better person and more happy than you were before for both of us. I think I can say that confidently, where it's just like, shit, I need to pee, or shit, I need to run and do something else. But it is like, okay, that was awesome. And we're so proud of it. And like Connor said it very well on one of the first things we ever did. I never wanted to be a TikToker. Like that was never the goal. I always wanted to talk about games in a long form. I was put on this planet to, like we joke about it all the time, but like I feel very driven to do this, and so to have that platform and the moment, like I want to go back to it, that Spider-Man review, you and I having the conversation before it, being like, dude, someone's gonna care about our opinion on Spider-Man. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is a major release. No one should care about our opinions, but somebody does, and it's awesome. And then like Connor gets upset with me when I cry or get emotional on podcasts, because
I don't get upset with you.
No, you're just like, continue talking.
Keep
please.
it together.
Yeah, keep it together.
Well, it also makes me cry, and I don't like that.
But the Final Fantasy VII podcast, yes, I did stay up all night before it to get that done for you guys. Was just like, how am I say it so often, life is hard, life is tough. I can say confidently that we feel, the three of us, like the luckiest men on the planet, that you guys give a shit about this. It's really cool. So thank you so much for 52. We're
52 episodes in. I haven't shit myself yet. We've come close a few times. It's gotten really close.
Oh my
like
God.
we don't want to like edit the podcast like, because it's a whole process of like uploading it, downloading it, rendering it, whatever, cut, like editing it. So like I've pushed myself to the limit at points. There has been moments where like you can go back and find it where I, during a draft, am tooting, was terrified that it was getting picked up on the mic. It didn't.
I remember having the conversation with you.
And Nick, I don't think Nick knew that I was about to literally shit my pants. And he was like going long on like a description for it, which is fine. Like that's what he's supposed to do. But I'm trying to wrap up the draft as fast as humanly fucking possible because I'm about to explode.
There was a different time when Connor did slide the phone across and be like, wrap it up, I need a shit. Like,
I have IBS. I have a horrible stomach. So like it's outside of my control.
It's electric. It is the one thing too where it's just like, we're only two people, so if we're going long, you need to be ready and have those escape hatches, as we like to call them, where it's like, okay, like I know that he's going to go on a long tangent, or I'm going to tee him up for a long tangent so I can go and run to use the restroom. I think we've only combined used the restroom like 5 times during this podcast.
We should probably, as these episodes keep getting longer, schedule a bathroom break moment or whatever.
Well, eventually it would be nice to, if we get a sponsor in here being like, we're going to kick it to ads and literally just play the ad button and like have 3 minutes of a pre-rendered you or me doing the ad read, and then it
Liquid
cuts
Death,
back.
please.
Yeah, somebody.
I need you.
Liquid Death. We'll do anything. We'll do anything. But yeah,
I'll call my first child Liquid Death.
Liquid Death happens, baby. LD, Lil Dicky. Okay,
Yeah.
jeez, Louise. But yeah, it's been awesome. All right, I feel where are we at?
3 hours and 4 minutes.
Oh, so we will have officially pushed to 3 hours through this. Thank you for 52. We will be back with another bonus pod this week, so be ready for that. The train keeps rolling, streaming 4 days a week, Monday, Thursday, 7 to 10, TikToks every single day. We have, like Connor said, if you are listening to this and it comes out at 9, it would be noon for you, but we do have Community Fall Guys tonight. Later this week, we have Friday streaming, and we have a whole bunch of weekend streaming throughout all of September. Please, just if you're not on the Discord yet, Discord link in our bio on the TikTok. Join the Discord because there's going to be a lot of updates about that throughout the next month. And then we do have another community night in October. And once you hear how amazing the community night went for Fall Guys, you're going to want to be part of it. So join the Discord. Because it's going to be a ton of fun. So thank you so much for 52. Thank you for 52. And we will see you in the next one.
Peace out, guys.